Oh, welcome to the Sharpe Show. So happy to have you with me this evening, right about 7:30 on the East Coast. Not too shabby. I know it's usually 7. Some of you reached out to me yesterday saying, Larry, what, your show was weird yesterday. It was weird because it didn't exist. There was no show yesterday evening. I played a repeat on my other show just so that there was something to listen to, watch. You guys who needed to get a chunk of little Larry a little bit, you got some. But it wasn't great. I get it, but it was still decent. So you got something. I have been posting a lot recently. You see the team's been posting a lot of stuff recently to get some of the stuff back out there. But I have been insanely busy trying to get a lot of stuff done coming up here for the summer. I'm prepping myself for the summer, prepping myself for next year. It is sucking up ton of time. So I'm sorry I can't always be jumping on as much as I'd like. But there are certain things that bug me. There we go. That's the phrase I'll use. I'm not going to get triggered, Mike. I promise I won't get triggered. Mike gets mad at me when I get triggered. I'm not going to get triggered. But there are certain things that do bug me. And I want to touch them and talk about them sometimes to the best of my ability. And sometimes what gets me going is when I watch other people talk about them. Now, I can sit here and just yap all day, of course, what I feel about stuff. But sometimes it's just better when I let other people go back and forth. And I chatted, people always ask me, Larry, why in the world do you like watching things like Breaking Points and Rising, even though some of them are terrible? Some of them are here or there. But when you look at a place like Rising, The Hills Rising, or Breaking Points, the good part is you very often get honest debate. Whether you like it or not, you get honest debate. That's the hardest part to find. Usually you go to most of the stations, you get a bunch of people who all think the same way, yelling either Democratic or Republican talking points back and forth. And maybe they shift a little bit, but most of it is like, am I right? Am I right? Is most of it. And then, yeah, you're right. Let me add on top of why you're so right. That's the majority of it. And I'm trying to not do that. Do I talk about things from one side or the other? Sure, libertarian side, which means often I don't like both sides. But I try, I hope you guys see this, I try very hard to be able to give credit where credit is due, even if I disagree with the viewpoint. And that's very hard to do, I know. But sometimes I even give credit when someone's talking the right way or saying the right things that make sense for them, even though I disagree with the viewpoint. So that I can say this is effective, even though I disagree. I'm going to cover some of that today. Some of that is not going to be, some of it's going to be the opposite of what you might think. But I'm going to grab some of it today. And I'm going to start with the one which I think is one of the most, it's a long one, but I don't know if we'll go through the entire thing. I mean, we might, but I don't know if we will. Depends on how you guys are going. But I'm going to bring up the one from Breaking Points. Breaking Points, there was, I think, a very popular back and forth between Krystal and Saagar regarding Trump sending people, migrants, to Salvadorian prisons. And why I think this was so important is not actually what they said. I don't think anyone's going to be that surprised on the stances they took. But I do think you want to talk about how they took them and what they said. And I did warn you months ago, if you remember, maybe 2 months ago, maybe a month, maybe 2 ago, I warned you that Krystal now, since the election, and since she's watched, particularly since, not even the election, particularly since the inauguration, and she's watched Trump do the full court press, she really has shown she's got TDS. Some of you don't like that, but it's just true. And you see it happen. You saw it with Bill Maher years ago. And then why does that matter? Why does TDS matter for someone like Krystal? Because sometimes she has the right thought process. Sometimes she has the right, even sometimes she has the right policy, even sometimes. But she's so blinded now by, gotta hate Trump, gotta hate him so much that it winds up ruining the message. And I think you're going to see some of that actually today.
It's only been invoked 3 times in the past, all three during actual wars: 1812, World War I,
go back to the beginning.
and World War II.
She is talking about.
So over the weekend, Trump announced that he is invoking the Alien Enemies Act of 1798. This is claiming wartime powers. It's only been invoked 3 times in the past, all 3 during actual wars, 1812.
She's not wrong.
World War I and World War II, when
She's
it was
not wrong.
infamously used to justify the internment of Japanese civilians, including others as well, Italians and Germans as well. We can put B1 up on the screen. So the headline here from PBS, Trump invokes 18th century law declaring invasion by gangs to speed mass deportations. So his claim is that the U.S. has been invaded by a Venezuelan gang, putting us...
Now, if you want to fight on this point, I get it. That is an actual fight you could have. I could understand that fight. But that's not really going to be her fight. And that's the part that bothers me. If she had actually just said this and then said, okay, let's have a fight on whether this invasion is an invasion according to this 18th century law. Okay, that's a fight. Okay, let's have that conversation. That makes sense to me. That is an actual issue you could have. You can go back and forth based upon that. I totally get that. That would make sense. That's not where she goes, though, and that's my problem, right?
"Quote unquote" at war, because these powers can only be used at wartime, and handing himself the discretion to intern and summarily deport with zero due process anyone that he effectively wants.
Now, the other issue that we have now, and she doesn't like this either, is Supreme Court has basically said, yeah, if he's doing what the president should do, it's all good. Now, I'm not happy about that at all. I think it's a terrible reading of the Supreme Court. But to be forward, it does make it legal. That doesn't mean it's okay, but it absolutely makes it legal, right?
So right away after he invokes this, and there was anticipation that this was coming, there were some Venezuelan migrants who were sort of moved to this Texas ICE facility. Yep. Of course, this had been expected because he talked about on the campaign trail that this was coming all along. So the ACLU actually got out front and filed a suit to try to block these deportations.
Yeah, but the problem is the ACLU has become a joke of what it used to be. Again, everything she's saying is accurate. She's not lying here. This is accurate. This is what happened. True. But the ACLU now, I mean, have you seen the garbage they've said? I don't know.
Focusing in particular on these 5 Venezuelan migrants. So when Trump invokes this Alien Enemies Act, immediately a plane takes off with hundreds of Venezuelan migrants that they claim are in this Tren de Aragua gang, which became a big talk.
Now, the gang is a serious gang. She's not wrong. The problem that we have, and what, again, she's going to bring up, and Saagar seems to not care, and he should care, but he doesn't, is what we have not done a good job of is actually deciding who's actually a member of this gang and who isn't. Now, here's the problem. If you're a member of the gang and you're going to be deported, you're not going to say, oh, yeah, by the way, I'm a member. You're not going to say that, obviously, right? You're going to try to hide it or lie. Of course you are. You're a gang member. Of course you are, right? So that's the hard part. Therein is the challenge. And that, again, valid issue.
Point on the campaign trail as well. So they take off and head to El Salvador, where they are put into a notorious prison there where, they're just completely disappeared, right? So there's no access for journalists, no access.
This part, again, I get. And it's a point. Lunatic brings it up. Thank you, Lunatic, for being a member, by the way. All courts are now null and void, along with all government entities. It's now a free-for-all. What fight are you going to fight to obtain another sunrise and sunset? Well, the reality of it is, it's a little bit of exaggeration, but it's based in truth, right? The reality of it is the elites do as they see fit. That's true, right? And the reason why he gets them out of the country, again, not saying it's right. I want to be clear. I'm not agreeing with this. I'm saying why. I'm explaining why. He gets them out of the country because once they're out of the country, now the political enemies can't stop him. And that's what he wants to do. That's why he got them out fast. All right. If your goal is to get these people out, done. Well done, Trump. That's the right answer, right? If that's your goal, now they're out. That's it. Now, here's the problem with that, which is, again, a valid point. What if some of these people are actually just American citizens or here legally? What if some was swept up? Larry, they will do. Of course they will. This was my biggest worry. If you remember, months ago, I brought this up. Overzealous Holman wrapping everybody up and just sending them all over there and saying, whatever, we lose some, we lose some. That's my worry. Now, do we have evidence so far that that's happened? Not to there, but being swept up? Yes, that's already happened. We have evidence of that already happening. Have they gone to, that place? We don't know. That is my concern. I think, to be fair, he's got to come up with an answer to fix that, right? That's the issue.
For lawyers, whatever. There is no proof that these people actually are in the gang that Trump says that they're in. And
that's not true. That's her saying. What she means is, I'm not convinced they are. She's not saying that. What she's saying is there's no proof. That's not true. They didn't just randomly grab random people. Look, I'm the last person to trust government. But what I do know is that there isn't no proof. She doesn't believe it, which she should just say, which would be fair. I don't believe they're all gang members. That would be an accurate statement. She doesn't believe that. But it doesn't mean they don't have any proof. That's her just talking trash.
In fact, previously they had said that some people, that were held at Guantanamo were in this gang, and journalists went in and turned out they weren't whatsoever. It's estimated there's only a few hundred members of this gang in the U.S. altogether. So it's
okay, that's not.
That's
not.
Finally, Saagar's like, okay, now you're just making stuff up.
Like
very unlikely reliable. That they got all of.
Okay, very unlikely. Then that's fair. See, this is say, okay, you believe it's very unlikely. That's a great statement. That makes sense. Okay.
In this one roundup. In any case, there's no proof they were given no due process, no ability to challenge the determination that they're part of this gang. And they're disappeared into this El Salvador prison.
That's true. And that's bogus. That part's true. And that's bogus.
It's known for cruelty, torture, and slave labor. So after this,
you mean like our prisons?
Plane takes off. A judge actually acts pretty quickly. We can put this next piece up on the screen. Judge actually acts pretty quickly.
Christine says, estimated by who? That's the point, right? That's not a fact, what she said, right? And I don't mind. You can say what you feel. I say what I feel all the time, right? But I don't say it's a fact unless I have some documents, unless I have some receipts. I don't say it's a fact. I say, here's what I think. I sometimes literally say, I don't have any evidence. I just feel this way. I will sometimes say that, and it's fine. But me feeling a certain way is now my opinion, and you can take your decision any way you like. Sometimes you hear me say, no, it's a fact. You can do your homework, check it, look at it. She's saying her feelings like facts here or there. So I just wish she would stick to what is accurate and what isn't.
And hastily schedules a hearing and says, you can't do this. I don't think that you have the legal right to do this, and I am blocking all of these deportations, not just the 5 that the case was originally about. The ACLU, immediately expanded their case to include all migrants who were held in detention, said you can't do this, and even if there is a plane in the air, you need to turn that plane around and bring them back. But that does not happen. Instead, there's reporting from Axios that says that Stephen Miller and Krystal, they were apparently the ones that were, involved.
That's totally Stephen Miller's thing. I believe 100% that Stephen Miller's behind this. This is like his thing. Absolutely. Stephen Miller's all about that. Like, if he could have been on the other side during that special time in the 30s in Central Europe when the Austrian leader was in charge, he'd have absolutely been in charge. He'd have been there. Yes. Larry, you're saying horrible things about Stephen Miller. He's a terrible person. He just is. I'm not trying to be mean. He's a terrible person. So, yes, absolutely.
Most closely in the execution of all of this. They debated with lawyers like, should we go along with this court order or not? And basically they decided not. Now they claimed, it was already in over international.
So when he says, we can't do it, let's go, right? That's okay. That's not okay. All right. Look, I get it. Michael says Miller is horrible. Yes, he is. He's a bad human being. He's a bad guy. There's no question, right? And you've heard, look, many of you heard me say things bad about the left. Now I'm saying about the right too. Miller is a bad guy, just like Joy Reid. I mean, is a bad person. He is bad too. These are bad people. Doesn't matter left or right. He's a bad person. You're absolutely correct. Yes.
Waters. So, it's out of our hands now. Of course, this is like preposterous and
why is
nonsense.
Wait, why?
Well,
Yeah,
because
do you think?
But here's the thing,
first
Saagar.
of all, read the quote in front of you. However, that's accomplished, whether they're planning a turnaround or not being the option.
Yes, he said or not. She said you need to turn the plane around. Again, she made that up. That's how she read it. Now, again, why don't you just say, and then she's okay. How I read that is turn it around now. Okay, that's how you read it. And I know I'm nitpicking here on this, but it does matter. It does matter. And here's why. I actually agree with her conceptually. I think disappearing people is horrible. It is a terrible idea. We should not be doing it. We should not. However, to be very forward, and I hate it, but it is legal. Now, I don't care about legality most of the time anyway. You know that. I care about what's right and what's wrong. We should not be disappearing people. That is a bad thing. We should not do it. If you think it's a good idea, how desperate are you? But I get it. We're doing it. She needs to be accurate here. It does matter. You've got to be accurate. Otherwise, you blow your entire argument. Particularly if, here's what I keep telling everybody. Most of America is like, whatevs. Some people are jumping out of their skin. Most of America is like, whatevs. Why? They want change. And prior to this, there was no change. Prior to this, nobody was doing anything. Prior to this, the answer was open borders, basically. I mean, there was some here or there. Some states did a little bit here or there. But it's basically open borders with no answer, no vetting. There's been no answer for years. People are like, I'll take it. So, Krystal, if you're going to fight this battle, you must be perfect. And you might go, Larry, it's unfair. I don't care if it's unfair or not. It's true. Because people are going to tear every bit you say. Your opinion here cannot matter. It's got to be about what's really facts. And she's not winning here. Here's the worst part. There were so many people on the left, and I'm going to walk down this for a little bit longer, who were saying, Krystal did a great job here. To be very forward, you're going to see as I move on, Krystal got a butt kicked here. She got hammered here. She changed nobody's mind. She changed nobody's mind. All she did was virtue signal to the left. Which again, not bad if that's your goal. If you go, I want to virtue signal to the left. Awesome, well done. She changed nobody's mind. And it's not because she is wrong in that we shouldn't be disappearing people. We should not be disappearing people. I agree with her. I go, Larry agrees with Krystal? I do. We should not be disappearing people. That is a terrible idea. We should not start it. We shouldn't do it. And we're gonna keep doing it. Yes. Why are we going to keep doing it? Because of what Krystal does here, which is you can't beat something with nothing. And sadly for the Democratic Party, which represents the left now, I know some of you lefties are mad at that, but it's still true. They represent the left, have no answer, no plans, no nothing. They have nothing. They're like, this is bad. Okay, what's your answer? I don't have one, but Trump's bad. You've been telling me that since 2015. I didn't give a shit back then. I don't give a shit now. You've learned nothing. And this is what Krystal did. She just sat there and went, this is bad. What's your answer? I feel like a broken record because I say this so much. When one side has no answer and the other side has bad answers, people who want answers will always take the bad answer. Constantly. It's not Democrats. No. In New York State, the opposite is true, meaning Democrats. Democrats have tons of answers. They're horrible, terrible answers, destroying the state, demonstrably destroying the state. The New York GOP has no answers. So what do we do as a state? We keep taking Democrats. They're the only ones who have answers. Terrible answers that keep destroying our state. Republicans have no answer. Nationally, what happens? Republicans got all the answers. Disappear people in El Salvador. Terrible answer. They got an answer. What's Democrats' answer? Nothing. People go with the guy who has the answer. This is not rocket science. This really isn't. It's a simple concept. You can't beat something with nothing. That's it. That's the whole plan. I know. My God, you're like a genius, Larry. I mean, I am. But no, that's not the issue. The issue is you don't have to be a genius. You can just be anybody and figure that one out.
Word. Second,
However, it's
the plane
accomplished.
took off from Texas, which immediately put it over international waters within like 10 minutes. That was 6:35 p.m. The flight landed in El Salvador.
He's got all the data. She has. It's bad. He's going to kill her
at 8:35 p.m., making it clear that actually it was over international territory and not over the waters of the United States. Now, do you really believe that some federal judge here in Washington, D.C. has the authority to tell the executive to turn a military aircraft around? You believe? Okay.
She says that for an important reason. This is why. She says that because of one reason. Because it's Trump. I'm not joking. I'm not joking. That's why she says it. And the sad part is, we all know that. We all know that. Of course. Dave says, Larry, the Republican Party gives less than an effing F if people had disappeared because they think that only their enemies would have disappeared. Accurate. Accurate, Dave. I wish you were wrong, but you are correct. Accurate. And always remember, whatever power you give the guy now, whenever Bill Clinton 3.0 shows up, when that guy shows up and woos America, because the Republicans went too far, because everyone who gets in charge goes too far. Democrats go too far in New York. Republicans going too far right now. When they go too far, eventually, whenever that's 4 years, 8 years, 12 years, whenever that happens, when Bill Clinton 3.0 shows up and does the equivalent of going on Arsenio Hall and playing the saxophone, whatever that equivalent will be 8 years from now, whenever that happens, now Democrats get that. Now who gets disappeared? Yeah. Now who gets disappeared? You are exactly correct, Dave. And they do not see it at all. Peace. Thank you for the $9.99. I have to check out this evening. Dean has been overloaded with politics, drama, sitting love there. Thank you. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate it. Yes. You and I are talking this week, so let's just make sure we make that conversation happen. So I appreciate that. Yes, guys, if you do want to, if you like what you're seeing here, as always, click the button known as like. Guys, if you haven't noticed, the show viewership has been stagnating. Now you might go, but Larry, you're super funny and smart and good looking. All true. But somehow YouTube doesn't like that. They still don't like me, literally from 2020. So I need your help. If you want me to keep doing this and get this out more and more and do more of it, then I need you to click the button known as Lima, India, Kilo, Echo. If you don't click that button, Mr. Rhythm, Alice's first name, Gora's middle name, Rhythm, doesn't move this out. People don't see it. So click that button. It's free. Just do it, please. Also, if you could, share it someplace else. Share it into a Facebook group. Share it on X. Share it wherever. Share it someplace else so other people can see it, so it moves around. It does matter. If you do want to super chat, you can. You just saw Peace do that. If you want, you can super chat me on YouTube or rant me on Rumble. Always helps out. Appreciate that. Make sure you're subscribing and following. The more followers I have, the more that YouTube and Rumble and X, and they go, oh, wait a minute, this guy must be somebody special because people are following him. So please do that. Every bit matters. If you do want to help out financially, please do so by becoming a YouTube member. Click that join button for $49 per month. Or on Rumble, you can also click subscribe during the live for $49 per month. All those are good, but no matter what, free, cheap, fast, button. LIKE, please. All right. Thank you for that piece. I appreciate it. Let me keep going.
Okay, well, then we'll test that at the Supreme Court. We will test that theory at the United States Supreme Court. And if you're right, then we can import these criminals back.
She can't stop talking. She just wants, remember I was telling you how she's been upset at him recently, how this is a problem, how her TDS is affecting the show. You can see it here. If you've noticed, they haven't been on a show together recently this last couple of weeks so as often. They've been putting other people in the middle of them. Have you noticed that? I have. That's been happening. She can't look at him. He looks at her. She can't look at him because she's upset. You can see her.
How do you know they're criminals?
Well, first of all, I mean, this is where, look, you said something earlier, which I think is important. You think your country is being taken away from you because 300-something Venezuelan illegal immigrants were deported to El Salvador.
How do you, what proof do you even have of that?
What?
I mean, because here's the thing.
They were deported to El Salvador?
No.
That they were illegal immigrants?
Yeah, here's the thing.
They all entered the country illegally.
According to the government. I mean, listen, I think that is
okay, she's just saying that. This is whenever you see somebody who's debating you, they'll often say things like, source, what's your source? They'll say things like that. Source means, I don't like what you said, so if you don't have a source, I'm going to dismiss it as not real because I don't like it. Now, the reality of it is, the ACLU and the government, no one denies these people came here through the migrant crisis. They came here. Some would say illegally, some wouldn't, depending upon whether they believe, and this is on whether you believe that they have an actual asylum-seeking piece. I don't know. Here's what we know. They're undocumented. No one denies they're undocumented. However you want to call them. I know Mike's mad right now. He's yelling, illegal, whatever, fine, illegals, whatever you want to call. That's true. Her point is, do you know if they are criminals? That's a valid question. But the fact that they're undocumented, we know this. That's true, no matter what. Now, if you are someone, and obviously the Trump administration believes this, if you're undocumented, the Trump administration believes by default you're illegal. Now, that is not 100% proven, because if our laws, which I, by the way, think are silly, but still true, talking legally here, if they are actually seeking asylum, if that's true, then they are legal if they came through a port of entry. That, again, if they're actually looking for it. The problem is, because of our stupid laws, everybody says it, and most of them are lying. I'm just being very forward. That's true. Most of them are lying, right? So are there some, but is it possible there are some that are actually there seeking actual asylum for real reasons? Maybe, right? Maybe. So at least that would be a valid argument. Her argument is, you don't even know this. How do you know? How do you know? That's her issue, and it's an invalid argument. The argument that they may not be criminals, that could be a valid argument.
Probably true. But here's what you're...
And then she says, well, it's probably true, because she knows it's terrible.
defending.
Oh, oops, did I? Oh, hold on, guys. I am sorry. I have more than one account, and I sometimes forget which account that I am on, and I pop my account up, multiple accounts. And some of them I have to make sure that I use the paid for account, so I don't get all those ads. So let me see if I can grab this real fast again. So, all right, hold on. All right, now let me pop this back up again. My mistake. I'll pop it up one more time. I sometimes forget to make sure I have the right one on. I do now. So now we're good. All righty. P says, you cracked me up, Larry. I do try. That is part of my thing.
According to the government. I mean, listen, I think that is probably true.
There we go.
But here's what you're defending. Hundreds of people.
And look at him, he goes, shh, because she goes immediately to, how dare you? That's it. How dare you? You're defending this. How dare you? So when she knows her argument is broken, which it is, she goes to how dare you? No, the argument, which is a valid argument, is two valid arguments. One, do we know if they're criminals or not? Valid argument. He wouldn't be able to say that. He is stuck on that because we don't know if they're actual criminals. Again, unless you say, because they're illegals, they're by default. I don't think that to be true. We don't know that to be true. So, but that's an argument at least. Second argument is, of course, is this war? Is this act appropriate to be used during this? Do you consider this war? Is that how you consider it? Does the precedent matter? These are valid arguments that should be going back, but she's not. What she's doing is, isn't this bad? Now, is it bad? Yes, but that's not an argument, if that makes any sense, right?
Who we don't know who they are. Disappeared into a foreign prison known for torture, where no lawyers or journalists could possibly go and find out who they are.
I thought, didn't journalists already go there? They took pictures of them, didn't they? Yeah, I think she's not. I think this. I could have sworn they took pictures of the people, right? And they released all their names. Okay, I'm 90% sure, Mike. You probably, if you're still watching, you know this. Please comment if you would. I'm like 90% sure that they actually let the people's names are listed, and I also think they sent reporters that took pictures, right? I don't know if Mike's still listening, but if he is,
whether the government story adds up,
he'll know.
With zero due process. That's what you're defending.
What I'm
is that
telling
Trump
you-
can summarily say.
So, hold on. Adam says, and according to that logic you stated, Larry, if they change the status of foreign students, according to the MAGA populists, I'd be technically illegal. Therefore, treated the same. Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
These people, they're gone. I'm putting them in this prison in a foreign country indefinitely at my discretion, and you don't get to.
Okay, there we go. IC says, yeah, there's footage from the prison getting haircuts, walking in bed. That's what I thought. Yeah. I thought that was true, right? So there are reporters there who are taking pictures of them, and I'm pretty sure they actually released all their names. I mean, if they didn't, please tell me if they didn't. But I'm like 90% sure they did.
Say anything about it. That's what happened here. So I just don't see
I didn't
how
say
you
you can't
can
say anything about it.
I don't
Listen,
see
I
how
think
you
it should
can
be
defend
easily
that.
challenged to the United States Supreme Court. And I think that within the context of clearly the invocation of the Alien Enemies Act, from what I've been able to review, he seems well within his rights to be able to do this from a State Department.
Are we at war?
There's no doubt that, to be very full with everybody listening, I hate, and I mean I hate the idea of us disappearing people. It is not the right way of doing this at all. It just isn't. There's got to be a better way. In fact, I know there's a better way. Why? Because I've had a better way since 2018. I should find that. I may do some homework on that. I may show this. I found ways of fixing this 7 years ago. It's been publicized in newspapers. My idea publicized in newspapers in California, not New York, because New York doesn't listen to me. I've talked about it on different shows, how to fix this. I've done an entire show here on Sharpe Way all about it, and we don't do my way. Now we're disappearing people. But it doesn't make her right.
Organization. That's not,
It's
listen,
still legal,
you're
sadly.
arguing semantics. I'm talking
No, I'm
legal.
arguing the law. Are we at
No, she's not arguing the law. I wish she was.
war right now?
I mean, it
this has
doesn't-
been invoked
well,
3
as
times.
in you look in the
War of
past.
1812, World War I, World War II.
And what she's saying is what she's not doing effectively, right, is she's saying, what is the precedent of using this? That's what she should be saying. The law itself can be used here. It can be used here. So and look, why am I saying this? You guys know I consult with this kind of thing, right? Law is one of the places where I consult. She should be talking about what's the this is unprecedented, and that makes it wrong. Valid argument. But no, it's not legal. Saagar's right. Saagar's smiling. He's like, give it to the Supreme Court, because he knows the court's going to go, it's legal. It is legal. It's just crappy, and it's unprecedented. That's true. The accurate statement is it is unprecedented, and she should be saying that if she's going to say anything, but she's doing it completely wrong.
Those are the 3 times it's been invoked. All 3 times, especially during World War II, quite shamefully in the internment of Japanese citizens. You think it's okay for our government?
And once you go there, this is the other part of shaming. This is the making it. It's the same thing as when you are a senator and you're getting when you're a senator and now you're getting when you're being confirmed and the senators go yes or no, yes or no, yes or no, same thing, right? You think that's okay? Okay, what is your alternative? What's your alternative? Here's what I would say to you, Krystal. Do you think it's okay to make somebody president who literally was okay with modern day Californian slave labor, right? Modern day slave labor in California, and keeping particularly Black men stuck in a prison system so they can have their labor in California? That was Kamala Harris. So can I do it to you? Can I just go to, hey, do you think it's okay to do that? She's going to go, well, what would she have said? Well, the alternative is Trump. That's what she did say last year. What she did say last year was, well, I got to stop Trump. So then what can Saagar then say? The alternative is status quo. The alternative is millions upon millions of people coming into the country and that's not knowing who they are. Now, what they tell us is 99% of the people are good people. And I actually believe that. I think that's true. But just in New York City, we got 200,000 migrants. If 99% are good, I believe that to be true. We put 2,000 bad people into my city. That's a lot of bad people. That's a lot of bad people. So what's your answer for that? Their answer is nothing. Nothing. So if the answer is nothing or disappear people, let me try this one more time. You can't beat something with nothing. When people have a problem, and you have no answer or a bad answer, people always take the bad answer because it's an answer. Again, not rocket science. Not rocket science. So, yes, Robert says those photos were from the prison, no reports. Okay, thank you. I didn't know that. Some names were listed in a few documents, but okay. See, I thought that was a full list. Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. Now they're outside of your jurisdiction. A U.S. court can do nothing to retrieve them. That's actually not true. I think they can, right? There are enough precedent, enough treaties that they could get a list of people. I think they could do that. The question, Robert, is will they? And to be forward, they absolutely should. There's no doubt. If they don't have all the names, that means you disappeared them. That means you disappeared them. Because again, say there's 300 of them, or whatever number was it. Was it 300? It's 300, I think, right? Say again, say American cops and American government was 99% correct. Great. That's 3 innocent people there. They're 99% on board. 3 innocent people there. That's 3 too many. So let's get their names out so their families can go, whoa, 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 whoa. Here's the data. John and Jane and Paul, these 3, here they are. Here's proof. They're Americans or they're not gang members or whatever. Here it is. Get them back. Right? Immediately. Get them back. Because I do think, I don't trust the government to be 100% perfect. I don't trust anybody to be, but particularly the government. They're terrible. So if that's true, that's terrible. I really hope you're wrong, Robert, but I have a feeling you're right. I can't stand that. So yes. Anyway, let's keep going for a bit.
Government to round up whoever, claim they're criminals, and imprison them indefinitely in a foreign prison to be tortured.
Well, I'll flip it around.
That's insane
so,
to me.
See, you seem much more concerned about that than the importation of 8 to 10 million illegal immigrants under Joe Biden. That seems to me like something.
And that's the part that I've been saying forever. And you might say, well, Larry, it doesn't make what Trump doing right. Correct. It doesn't. But it does make people say, I don't care. That makes them evil. No, it doesn't. It makes them human. Let me be very clear. Every time, as a people who are in trouble, and Americans are clearly in trouble, I do a show every week on how in trouble Americans are. No answer, bad answer. Humans take the bad answer. That's not bad. That's normal. And you would too. No matter how righteous you think you are listening, you would too. If you're drowning and I put my hand out to pull you up, you don't care whether that's a hand of a good guy, a bad guy, a Klansman, whatever, BLM activist. You don't care. Someone's going to pull you out of the drowning water. You happily take that hand. You don't care. You'll deal with the consequences later. We all would. Americans are doing it. The Spanish did it earlier last century. So did the Italians. So did the Germans. So did the Russians. Doesn't matter where. So did the Japanese. So did the Chinese. Doesn't matter what country you're in. Doesn't matter where you're from. When there's no answer and someone gives you an answer, you take the answer, the consequences later. This is the worst part. If you're more left-leaning and Democratic leaning, if that's where you are listening right now, and you're like, well, these guys are all fascists. No, they're not. They're human beings. And if you keep saying that and acting that way, you make things worse. Well, Larry, we got to fight the fascists. When has that ever worked? Sorry, internally, not externally. Internally, can anyone tell me internally, meaning inside a country, when has it ever worked? It doesn't. Because what all authoritarian types, groups like that, they're all about, what are they very good at? Giving you answers. They got all of them. They got all of the answers. And it's usually someone else's fault. See? It's somebody else's fault. We get rid of those people and things get better. And you go, damn, that's an answer. The guy I've been with has no answer at all. And I'm just struggling. Okay, let's go with your answer. Happens every time. And we never learn. Peace, Peace says, before I check out this evening, I want to ask you, what is your taste in music? Your intro music podcast is electronic. Don't lie to me and say you're a Ray boy. A little bit off topic, but yes, thank you for the $10. That I like that song because the name of that song is Rise. And when I was running in 2018, I'd heard that song, and that was one of the things when I wanted to rise, everybody rise up. And the name of that song is Rise. And the name of the group is called Encephalon. And what was nice about it is they were happy to give me the rights to do it at a very good price. So that was one of the reasons why I picked it, because of the price. So I have the rights to it. It is I use it with permission. And it's Rise, which I like. And I use it in my intro and my outro for my radio show too. So my taste in music, though, generally speaking, is anything as aggressive and soft. So everything from Sharpe to Rammstein. And so those are my types. I like some of my favorite songs are either very aggressive or very soft. So I hope that was clear. But now I probably my favorite genre of music is probably still 80s. I grew up in that. That's my teen years. So I think that's probably what I still like 80s music. I know it very well because of that time I grew up. But yeah, probably is what I like. But I have kids, so I listen to whatever the cool new music is too. I listen to that stuff too. I even listen to what's that Carpenter woman? I forgot her name. Something Carpenter. I listen to her too because my kids do. So whatever. Yeah. Hope that answered your question. Don't know if it did, but I hope it did. So, all righty. Let's see. Shin goes on to say we need to close Guantanamo Bay. True. Obama was supposed to close it. Remember that? I remember that. One reason why I thought it was going to be different. He was supposed to. He didn't. Neither did Trump when he came in. Neither did Biden. And now Trump isn't either. Yeah. They're all the same, Shin. I wish they weren't. I wish they weren't, but they're all the same.
My country's been taken away. So this is what I'm saying. Like, we can play this game all day long. Do you think?
See, he says it. My country's being taken away. He believes that. He does. A lot of Americans believe that. To be forward, if you are someone who is talking about, Larry, we need more immigrants. Immigration is positive. You're more hardcore libertarian watching. Going, why don't we have open borders? I get the emotion behind that. I do. It is just a fantasy. It's not going to happen. At least 80% of Americans, at least 80%, do not want open borders, if not 90, but at least 80%, if not 90 or more, no matter where you go, do not want open borders. Would I love a world to where we could have a open borders like they have in the UK now, where you can cross Wales and Scotland and England and nobody cares and it's awesome. I would love that world. That would be a great world. We don't live in that world. Maybe one day we will. I hope, and before, I'm not even being flippant when I say it, I hope one day the world will be that peaceful and that friendly, and we will have enough respect for each other's cultures, enough respect for each other's languages, respect for each other's laws and rules. I hope we one day have a world where borders are just kind of nice and don't mean much. That would be a great world. I hope we get there one day. We are nowhere near there now. That's not where we are. Should we move towards it? I think that'd be wonderful. And I'm not being flippant. I think that would be amazing. I would hope we have a world like that one day. Not today. Not today. And Americans don't want it. You can say it all day. Americans don't want it. Michael says, their show has become unwatchable for me. For me too. Like, I watch it here or there. But, if you look at, what's the other guy's name? Ryan Grimm. Ryan Grimm is very smart. He's brilliant. But his speaking ability is just, he's unwatchable. Constantly. I'm like, dude, go get some speech like classes or something. He's terrible. Ums and ers and blah. He's just terrible. If he didn't have someone across from him, he would literally be unwatchable. His speaking ability is so embarrassingly bad. And you might go, well, Larry, it's not fair. He's right. Then don't be on the show. I'm not being mean. You don't see me being a writer. Why? I'm not a great writer. So you don't see me writing articles. I know my lane. This is my lane. Yapping live to people. I'm really good at it. That's why I do it. I know my lane. His lane. And if I am going to write, I will get help. And the book I'm writing, which should come out this summer, I was working on it this weekend, I got someone to help me, a guy named Ed, a friend of mine named Ed Hoffer. He's a great writer. I got him to help me because he's a better writer than I am. I know my weaknesses and my strengths. Well, Ryan, that's a weakness. Fix it. That's all I'm saying. It's a weakness. Fix it. And the other woman I have on there, I've actually forgotten her name too. Her personality just can't fight Krystal. Just can't. She just gets overrun by Krystal. She can't fight it. So I know, as I told you, the show's going to be in trouble if they can't fix this. And the sad part is it's failing because of so many people who get TDS, and it completely destroys their mindset. It colors everything they do. It's not a good thing.
That's an invasion.
Saagar.
I think that's an invasion.
Saagar.
8 to 10 million illegal immigrants.
But that's not what he's talking about.
No, but he's talking specifically about Venezuelan migrants.
Yes, and no, he's talking
the
specifically
gang
about
of
the
Tren de
Aragua.
Yes.
How many people are here from Tren de Aragua?
I have no idea. All right, and that's my
estimates.
Not even
say roughly several hundred.
Who are we getting that from? From the
Who are we getting that from?
ACLU or from the lawyer?
No, from agencies, from international agencies that track law and order across Latin America. These are not like liberal do-gooder. These are people who are looking at the spread of gangs around the world. Okay. Many actually of these people likely were fleeing violence from the very gang that you're talking about.
That's probably a convenient narrative.
Okay. See, she says probably they're fleeing gang. Now, I don't doubt some are. I don't doubt that at all. That's probably true. Now, you could say that that is a valid issue or concern for asylum, considering our silly asylum laws. Our asylum laws are Cold War laws that should have gone away a long time ago, but we still have them, sadly. We should not have asylum laws. It doesn't make any sense at all, but we do. I'd get rid of those too. You might go, Larry, you want more immigration? I do, but asylum is stupid. Just come to the country, have a place to go to be vetted, and have a place to go work. If you have a place to go work, and I think the idea of the H-1B visa is stupid also, right? Now I'm beholden to this person. No, you come here, you get the right to work for whatever, 2 years, you get vetted, you get an orange card, you are unable to legally take any public assistance, just go work, pay your taxes as anyone else would, and then every 2 years check in. If you want to go home, go home. You don't want to come home, don't go home. I don't care, but be here, be vetted, be documented, be legal, make Michael happy, be legal so Michael will be happy, right? Do those things to be fine. I don't care if it's H-1B. Stupid, old madame. Orange card, move on. And have a pathway to whatever it is, depending upon how that works. I don't care. Make your pathways however you want. Who cares? And the private market can do it, should do it better. We already do it. Literally, companies move millions of people around the globe every single day. The private sector can do this easily and cheaply. It can be done. I have an entire plan how to fix it. We can do that. So all of that stuff's done. But with our current laws, to be forward, the idea is some of them probably have a real, piece. But Saagar's right. Most of them don't. Well, how do we know this? Because once they talk about the border being closed, most of the people turned around and went back home. Well, if you're actually worried for your life, you would try to cross anyway, wouldn't you? I'm not joking. If you honestly thought if I go back to my village, I am going to be killed, you'd come anyway. And some are, because some probably are worried about that. But the majority it wasn't. It was economic. Again, not that I care about that, but the point is true.
Hold on.
So I think that's a very convenient narrative.
In terms of who was brought to Guantanamo Bay, imprisoned in Gitmo, the Trump
IC says their initial act of coming into the U.S. was technically illegal. No. And this is the part that depends on who you talk to. Why? If they came to a port of entry and if they have a valid asylum claim, no. According to our, again, dumb law, but still true. And this is what people are not saying. Our asylum laws are stupid laws also. The entire system is broken and stupid and no one will fix it. Why won't they fix it? I'll tell you why they won't fix it, IC. I'll tell you why they won't fix it. They won't fix it because big business wants all these migrants, wants all of them. Every one of those 8 million wants every one of them. Why? As I've already told you, 8 million young men have checked out of our society. They're not working. They need labor. And Immigrants, particularly those that are undocumented illegal, real cheap. You can do whatever you want with them. It's the next best thing to slave labor that you can get. So they take it and they want them. That's why big business wants them. People say, well, how are we going to fill these jobs? I just showed you that's how. That's how we're going to fix it. These are the people who are running our hospitality. They're working in our farms. They're working in our food processing. That's who's working there. Americans aren't. Men have checked out. They're not doing that. And women don't do those. Women aren't going to do those jobs. They don't want to either. Americans don't want to do those jobs. People say all the time, Americans do those jobs. No, they won't. Some of those jobs, and if you think I'm making this up, do your homework. If you want to work in an animal/food processing plant, you can get paid $25 to $35 an hour to do that. In the areas where those jobs are, that's a good living. Now, that's not crazy living in New York City, obviously, but those jobs aren't in New York City. That's a living wage. Why don't Americans do it? They don't want to work. They don't do that job. They don't do that work. They won't do it. They won't do it. We know. We tried. It doesn't work. So what do we do? Because the men have checked out. That's a job that young men would do. I'm not trying to be sexist. It's just a fact. That's a job that young men would do. They don't want to do it. American young men don't want to do it. So what do? They bring in, why do they keep saying it's military-aged men? Yeah, but they ain't going to the military. That military-aged men stuff, that's Republican fear-mongering. That's not real. I mean, it's accurate, but they're not going to military. These guys don't have military training. I mean, the gangbangers do. But the regular non-gangbanger guys, they're young men who will do any job. That's who they are. They're the ones who will work in those plants. They're the ones who will clean all the things that need to be cleaned. They'll do the work that American young men won't do. That's why. So was it technically illegal? Depends. But they don't care. And that's the point. All these laws only matter if people enforce them. Big business owns our government. Big business doesn't want to enforce them. So they won't. Why is it now okay to send people to whatever, El Salvador's Gitmo, our new Gitmo in El Salvador? Why is it okay? Because big business already has it. Saagar said it. At least 8 million people came in the last couple of years. At least 8 million. They got their workers. They're good. New York got 200,000 of them. They're good. So they're like, yeah, send the gangbangers back. We don't care. We got our workers. We're good. Our factories are good. And now, coming up here soon, robots going to be in the factories. So I got migrants and I got robots. Trump, send them all back. We don't care no more. I'm not joking. The same way I told you that, and that's from the right. Here's from the left. And to make sure I'm not hitting you one too badly, right? On the left, now you got the left saying, we're going to stop, and this Kathy Hochul and others, we're going to stop private equity from owning all these houses now. Now, it's been happening for years. Now you care? Why? Because they were divesting. They already made the money. They're now selling the stuff back anyway. They're dumping. There's going to be a housing bubble coming up here. If they have it. It's already in Florida already. You see it happening in Florida. They're selling the houses already. They're done. They're out of the business. So now we're going to do it. Well, now they don't care about sending the migrants back because they got the workers already. 8 million of them, if not more. I mean, who knows if that number's accurate? At least 8 million. So I hope at least that makes sense what I'm saying. So, all right, John, thank you for the $10. Larry, love the show. Thank you, my friend. Look, I'm always trying to give you guys some inside baseball, how this stuff works. I'm always trying to get you to understand what's working and what's not working, right? I don't just want to go, Republicans are Trump's bad or Democrats are dumb. Or I don't want to. You can get that any place, right? Literally, you can go to any station and get Democrats bad, Republicans bad. It's fine. I'm trying to show you something different, right? I hope I am.
Administration made the same, oh, these are gang members. These are the worst of the worst. Some of them didn't even have criminal records at all. Some of them who they claimed were in Tren de Aragua, it was because of either they were from that state of Aragua in Venezuela and actually, like I said, had been fleeing the violence from this gang, or they happened to have a tattoo that made them think like, oh, they're just in the gang.
She's just saying you guys are bad. Christine says, my grandparents came to this country legally, came to the front door with something to contribute. Yeah, and I'm wrong with that. We could have a better system that can make that happen, Christine. We had that. We had an Ellis Island system like that, and we could do it again. It's possible. In fact, we could do it better now. We have technology where we can do it even better now. It can be done. We don't want to do it. It's what I was just telling IC. We don't want to do it. We absolutely could. Phil says, Ryan needs to be behind a typewriter or computer, but yes. Absolutely. I completely agree. Yes. So, all righty. That Liberty Lady says that guy should take Toastmaster classes. That is a brilliant idea, Liberty Lady. I think you are correct. Ryan should. Ryan, if you happen to be listening, please listen to what she said. Go to Toastmasters. It's a good idea. I'm looking over at Instagram, and Disgustipated says, what party did you once align with before you became libertarian? And do you plan on running for governor again? The story I tell people don't get this. I didn't come from either party. And I think that's what makes me a little bit different than most. And generally speaking, you'll find two types of libertarians. The one who's so mad at their party, like they came from Republicans and now the libertarians, and they hate Republicans because they feel like they were betrayed by them. Or the reverse, they came from Democrats, now they hate Democrats because they feel like they're betrayed. That's option one. Those tend to be very strong libertarians. Those are going to be very strong, and they're very anti where they came from because they feel betrayed. Like they thought Democrats were going to be great, and when they found out how bad they were, now they hate Democrats. Or they came from Republican Party and they hate. That's part one. Part two is someone who really still is Democrat or really still is Republican, but currently the current people in that party they don't like, so they come to us and dip their toe in because they don't like the current people. So you see this often in the Republican Party when they have someone who maybe is a bit too establishment, that those Republicans come on and go, well, I'm not really Republican, I'm kind of libertarian. You get some of that, right? And some Democrats, same thing. Well, Democrats aren't strong enough on this, so I'm kind of libertarian. But then as soon as someone that's acceptable comes into Republicans, Democrats, they go right back. Generally speaking, when it comes to libertarians, we get less people from the left. We get more people from the right. However, the people who come from the left tend to stay. Those who do come from the left are utterly angry at the left. They don't like them. It's just the left. They don't like the Democrats. I'll say that. Hate Democrats. And they're very good, strong, hardcore libertarians, those who come from the left, who's generally speaking, less of them come, but those who come are more hardcore. More come from the right, but they often go right back. They're saying, oh, well, this guy's libertarian enough, then they go back. You see that happen often. Myself, neither. I hated all the parties, always. My first vote, I voted once for a Republican president and once for a Democratic president, once each. My first vote was for George H.W. Bush. I was in the Marines. He was my commander in chief, and I voted for my first vote was for a Republican president. After that, I voted for independence the whole time. I voted for Ross Perot twice because I couldn't stand either party. I voted for Nader twice because I couldn't stand either party. So I was just, the other guys are bad. I knew they sucked. I didn't know what libertarians were, but I knew that the system was garbage. I've been anti-system for a long time. In fact, I was on a show 2 nights ago with my friend Rich. Rich is a buddy of mine for 25 years. He knew me back in the day. And he used to tease me that I voted for Nader. He's like, Nader, he can't win. I said, Nader later. I know, so cheesy, but I actually said that. So yes, I know. Anyway, it's embarrassing, but I actually said that. So then I voted for Obama in 2008 because I thought, okay, this is going to be different now. Yes, I bought the lie. I did. And then when he showed me who he was in the first 2 years, I was like, okay, I voted for a Republican once, a Democrat once. Both disappointed me horribly. You know what? They all suck, and I'm out. I was not going to vote anymore. I was like, I'm checking out. And then I heard Gary Johnson speak in 2012, and I was like, oh, this guy, okay, he's saying some stuff that makes sense. He was an entrepreneur like I was, and that's how I went to libertarianism. So I guess I have to give Obama credit. I say this all the time. Obama made me a libertarian. See that? Thank you, Obama. You made me a libertarian. There we go. So, because he made me just give up on everything. It's like, I'm out. I'm done. He was so bad. I'm out. Any case, I hope that answers your question. Oh, and do I plan for running for governor again? I hope to. I'm looking at 2026 for another governor run. I haven't decided yes yet. So we'll see. But thank you for that question. I appreciate that. All right, let me grab a couple more of these if I could. All right.
One of the people who was part of this group is a LGBT Venezuelan who was in prison, according to his lawyer, because of his tattoo, was assumed.
So he's LGBT. So therefore, by what she's saying, why does that matter? Well, that makes you extraist or extraphobe, right? See, now Trump is now extraist an extraphobe, so he's extra bad now because of this. And, well, his lawyer says, well, if it's going to get me out of an El Salvadorian prison, I'm LGBTQIA plus too. I'm all the things. What's going to get me out of an El Salvadorian prison? I'm that. That's what I am. Yeah, always been that. Whatever it takes. Yes.
To be in a gang. That's what we're talking about here. So there is no reason.
Why is he being gay or whatever? How is that relevant?
Thank you.
Because how do you think it's going to go for him, Saagar?
What?
So it's okay to go to a torture prison if you're straight. Go get tortured. Like, you know what never happens? You know what never happens to straight people in prison? Gang, RAPE. That never happens to straight, only to gay people. Wow. That virtue signal makes me want to vomit. Makes me want to vomit. Michael says Krystal Ball should be in the view at this point. True. Phil says Emily Jasinski. Her, yes. She's nice. I like her. And she's smart. But her personality isn't strong enough to fight someone like Krystal. She just isn't strong personality-wise. So, yes, but you are correct. Yes.
He's an artist. How do you think this is my whole point?
He's magically allowed presence in the United States.
Okay, then don't care that he's gay. Do you care that he was wrong?
Yes, but see, now, well, don't care about that. Well, then why'd you bring it up? She's losing the argument because she's falling into this idea. She has two solid arguments, which she doesn't use at all. And here's the reason why. You might go, Larry, but isn't she smart? She is. She's not. The woman is not dumb. To be very forward, Krystal is a smart woman. Right? She's a smart person. Whatever you think, she's a smart person. That's true. She is smart. Why is she doing this? Why is it? Because she has TDS and it clouds her. And she must insult. And she must attack. And she must call Trump bad. And she must virtue signal no matter what.
Wrongfully in prison and disappeared into a foreign jail cell. And there's nothing that anyone can do about it. Does that bother you?
His ACLU.
Does that bother you? Does it bother you that in New York State, we have the absolute worst wealth gap? That over half of people in New York State are on Medicaid or Medicare. Over half are on that. Over half. Does that bother you? Does it bother you that we lose 300,000 people every single year in my state? Every year? Does it bother you that we still have people on strike in our prison system? Does that bother you? Does that bother you, Krystal? Are you a horrible human being? Why are you a horrible human being? Why do you hate old people? Why do you hate children? Same argument. It's not one. Same argument.
Lawyer, he's not a part of the trend dialogue.
Do you truly believe?
I'm supposed to trust some open borders lawyer?
Do you truly believe?
Thank you. He says a real thing. I'm supposed to believe in open borders. Well, not give open borders, but the guy's a lawyer. And she's just like, well, I'm going to say how bad you are.
Yeah.
That they rounded up in this. They successfully rounded up every Trender Aragua gang member in the country.
Nobody said that. She made that up. Straw man argument.
That's it.
No, I don't.
Mission accomplished.
Yes, no one thinks that. No one thinks that. She just made that up.
Okay.
If anything, there's probably a lot more that need to go. Now, this is actually what I'm saying, is that at the end of the day, within the powers of the State Department, which has declared this in FTO, the powers within the executive are quite clear. I'll also note, Trump literally promised to do this on the campaign trail. So this was one of the most telegraphed.
This is the part that he is exactly right on. And that is Trump literally said, I'm going to do this. He literally said multiple times, whether you like it or not, and I did not like it. I told everybody months ago I was worried that this was going to happen. This was one of my worries with Trump. I was worried it was going to happen, but he said it openly. He's like, what was this, if I get his words right, the largest deportation since Eisenhower? I think is what he said. If I'm right on that one, I think he said that. The most ever. And we went, check, and voted him in. America wanted this. And I know the left will say all the time, the Democrats will go, he didn't win the popular vote. Stop, he beat your woman. He beat your person. He beat your person. Stop it. You're just making yourself look bad. Instead of trying to attack him and somehow dismiss him, have a damn plan so this wouldn't have happened. This is happening not because Trump is bad. This is happening because Democrats have no plan and did nothing about it. This is a symptom of failed Democrats. That's what it is. Biden had 4 years to do anything about this. Harris had months to have a plan. Some kind of, if she had any plan, she could have beat him. Any plan. Nothing. No, she had hope and freedom and dancing and Beyonce. She had that. Where was her plan? I will say it again. I'm a broken record, but I don't care. You can't beat something with nothing. And let me go one step further here. This is a personal thing for me. Personal for me. Because I'm a third party guy. Krystal was. What happened to all the people who actually didn't sell out? Make a wall to the left. No. There's people who didn't sell out. Sabrina Salvati, she didn't sell out. She was like, no, Democrats are terrible. They have no answers. We need to go with Jill Stein. Now, you may not like Jill Stein. A lot of people don't like her. That's fine. What I'm saying is Sabrina didn't sell out. She said, vote third party. She said, vote third party. Brianna Joy Gray, she didn't sell out. She didn't. Marianne Williamson, she didn't sell out. Jill Stein didn't sell out. That's 4 people who didn't sell out. Like him or not, Cornel West didn't sell out. They didn't sell out. They said, the Democrats got nothing, and we feel like we are left. And the Democrats are nothing, we're going to do our own thing, stick with us. Now imagine if people like Krystal, the big heavy hitters didn't do it. They all have TDS. Krystal Ball, the guys at Vanguard, at the end, the TYT guys at the end, Destiny, Bosch, all those guys who could have been yelling and screaming, vote for Jill Stein or vote for Cornel West. You might go, well, they wouldn't have won. So what? Imagine if Jill Stein had won Michigan. Imagine if Jill Stein had won Michigan and Trump didn't. For those of you who are on the left, for those of you who are Democrats, imagine that if all those people I just mentioned took all their time, money, and energy that they have and said, get all my people. Guys like Destiny and Bosch have thousands of people who love them. They could have sent them to Michigan. They could have put money there. They don't have cash. They couldn't have done that. They could have. They didn't. They went, Trump is bad, and Trump is evil, and Trump is bad, and Trump's president, and won a popular vote, and got a mandate. Well, you can say he does it. He does. Imagine if he didn't win Michigan, and instead Jill Stein won a 3-way race. She gets 35%, and the rest get 30-something. And she wins Michigan because everybody throws all their money behind there. Why do I care? Because that would have been a third party. Right there. Third parties matter. Boom. Now, if you'd done that, and now you come in and open your mouth and say, well, we shoulda. Well, yeah, you had a plan. You did something. Now all this is sour grapes. I'm just mad. Trump's bad, and I guess Americans are stupid. That's what she's basically saying. Americans are stupid. Saagar saying Americans voted for this guy. They knew what he was doing. He telegraphed it openly. He was going to do it, and now he's doing it. Did Joe Biden do what he was supposed to do? Did Barack Obama do what he's supposed to do? Didn't Barack Obama say he was going to get rid of Guantanamo Bay? Did he say he was going to end all the wars? Didn't he do any of that? Did he say that? He didn't do that. Didn't he say he was going to codify Roe v. Wade? What happened to that? Nothing. Didn't do any of it. About Biden, he's going to close Guantanamo Bay. Did he do that? No. Didn't do any of that stuff. Where's Medicare for all? Oh, that's gone. What happened with that? Gone. Didn't do any of that stuff. But now you're mad. But you supported those people who did nothing. Nothing. You supported them. Now you got your mouth open. I'm not hearing it. Keep yelling Trump bad. It hasn't worked in 10 years. Are you ever going to learn?
Okay, but
Actions
are you
modern
good
history.
with it? Are you good with it?
I mean, Krystal,
Random people.
are you good with 8 to 10?
Thank you. He's doing the right thing. Are you good with 10 million people coming in with no answer?
10 million illegal immigrants
Random
coming in over
people
4 years.
We're changing the subject. Yes, I
No, we're not.
am. You know that I'm fine.
Yeah,
with
okay.
increased
So
immigration.
then,
Yes, she's okay with 8 to 10 million. Why is she? It's a serious question. Because she's libertarian? No. Why is she okay with that? Because she's privileged. I'm not joking. Because she's privileged. The elite Democrats, they don't mind immigration coming. It's privileged. Those are the people who serve them when they go to hotels. They don't care. The migrants aren't going to their neighborhood. The migrants aren't going to the neighborhoods. She didn't get migrants in her neighborhood, except they're going to clean stuff. The cleaning crew. that the big company who services her and her entire neighborhood, that drives around and provides maid service for them, they get them. They care about that. Or when they go to their when they go to their cool restaurants in their neighborhood, all the people in the back working, that's how she takes advantage of it. She doesn't mind. We live in the Bronx here in New York. Yeah, all of a sudden your kids can't go to school. I'm not making that up. We live here in New York City. And they put 3 migrant places, and they only put them in the worst places. Yeah, of course she doesn't care. If I was her member, wouldn't care either. If I was some wealthy person who lived outside of DC and the only illegal immigrants I saw were those who were serving me, maybe I wouldn't care either.
And
Are you good? Quit changing the subject.
Yeah, that's not, no, but
He's not changing the subject. She doesn't like the answer.
Are you
that's an important
comfortable?
part of the story.
Are you comfortable with random people being
I don't
snatched
think that
up?
they're random. I think they're illegal.
Okay, it's not random. She made that up also. It's not random. Her argument, what she should say, which is a valid argument, is are you comfortable with the government making massive arrests, recognizing that the more they make, the more errors they will make? That's my actual argument, and I'm right on that. That's why disappearing people is wrong, and we shouldn't do it. We should not disappear people. You want to round them up, check them all. Okay, this is a mistake. Go home. Then take care of these people. I'm good with that. That's something we can do. I can deal with that. Not good with it. I can handle that. I'm okay with that. That's what I was hoping was going to happen. That's not what's happening. But that's not her argument. Because she has to say Trump bad. She can't just say the system is wrong. She has to say Trump is evil and putting random people in distributing random people. It's not true.
Why?
Immigrants.
Okay, give me your proof.
What of what? That they entered the country
No, give me your
illegally?
proof these are gang members.
I don't have to offer that proof. And actually,
not?
even the government doesn't necessarily have to do that either for
But are
deportation
you
purposes.
good with that?
With
Now she goes, are you good with it? First she says proof. Can't get that. Are you good with it? Here's the problem. She just wants a yes. She just wants a yes. Yes. That's it. So, all right, let me keep going here. IC says there are legal ports of entry to claim asylum. True. And we don't know which ones of these did come through and not. We don't know because it was just a disaster. We don't know. Correct. Yes. So the problem is that's why I want all the names, IC, to know if some did that. I don't know which ones did or didn't. I don't know. So I'd like the names, is all I'm saying. That isn't too much to ask for. That isn't. Michael says, Krystal came looking to a camera when she spouts her nonsense. She doesn't believe in herself. The problem is she just has to be able to insult. This is just, I'm mad. What you can tell when someone has TDS, it's just insult, 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 insult. And then even when they have a valid argument, they must end it or begin it with insults. They have to make sure the insult happens. That's the thing. And she's just insulting. Rick says, cheap exploitative labor. Correct, my friend. Correct. 100%. Yes. Shin says, in the future, we'll be begging for these migrants. Immigration is what maintains dynamism and counters declining birth rates. We won't. They're just going to come in, Shin. This is never going to stop. We're not. This is, the pendulum is swinging because we have so many in now. That's not going to stop. Look, America has always been built on cheap labor immigrants. Always. That's our entire history. First, it was indentured slave. First, it was indentured servants first. That was the first. Second was slaves. So indentured service, then slaves, then former slaves, along with immigrants. And since it's also immigrants, it was immigrants from Southern Europe, then Eastern Europe, then it became Mexicans. So yeah, in the West it was Chinese. So that's not going to stop. That's not going to stop. It'll pop back and forth here or there. We brought so many in these last couple of years that were good for a while. We'll be all anti-immigrant for 3 years or whatever's the amount. I don't know how long, for whatever time. Then big business will be like, I need some more labor. Can we use prison slaves? And if the government's like, yeah, well, we got tons of prison slaves, they'll use prison slaves. If the government's like, no, we don't have enough. Oh, do you want some Mexicans in? Oh no, the new ones are now from whatever, Vietnam or West Africa, whatever. They'll figure it out, whatever that group is. Yeah, we'll let them in. That's not going away. That's not going away. It's just for now. That's it. Paula says, Americans will not pick fruit. Period. Don't believe me? Go to Florida. Correct. In fact, they did an experiment. I think it was Alabama. Might have Mississippi. One of those states. Literally said, we're getting rid of all our migrants, going to throw them all out. And what happened? The crops rotted in the fields. I'm not making this up. That literally happened. Do your own homework. That's a fact. That actually happened. They were like, we just kidding. We want the migrants back. We just kidding. Americans would not do it. Everyone goes, Americans do that job. That, by the way, is Democratic propaganda. That's just Democratic fear-mongering propaganda. They're not doing those jobs. They're not. Americans are not doing those jobs. That's something they made up. There is literally zero evidence that shows Americans do those jobs. Americans won't become plumbers. I mean, relatively. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but they won't. We have a plumber shortage. We won't become plumbers. Plumbing is a great job. If I was 18 now, I would consider becoming a plumber. It's a great job. You always get work. You make tons of money. Okay, it's a tough job, but you always got work and you always got money and you don't got to go to college. And by the time you're 30, you probably own your house, own a car. You good, no debt. Yeah. So you are correct. Paul, you're absolutely correct. It's 100% true. So yes. And then why Liberty says those businesses should be allowed to sponsor, as immigrants could even have an immigration officer at large ports of entry to match them with companies look for sponsors. Yes. Let the private market do it. 100%. It can be done. So let's keep a little bit further.
What?
With being able to snatch up random people.
But they're not
It's
random.
not
They're
random.
here
How
to
do
work.
you know
They're not
that?
citizens. They are.
So
Nobody says they're random, not even the ACLU. The question is, are they criminals? That is a valid question. She should be asking that. Yes. Christine says the immigrants doing unwanted jobs need to be sponsored by the factories employment. I'm okay with that too. See, we're already talking about ways to do this. This can be done, Christine. This can be done. But why would you? When I can just do this and then fight over it for no reason. Yes, absolutely. And then fight over it for no reason.
you're fine with, okay,
They
so
have
you
criminally
think,
entered our
you
country.
think
That's the thing. You're fine with. I would always go back. So you're fine with putting someone who's president who literally was okay with prison slave labor in her state. You're okay with that? She was. She said vote for Harris. She was okay with that. If I'm Saagar is trying to either Saagar is trying to not be as aggressive with her. She's actually insulting him. He's not insulting her. He has in the past, but he's not insulting her. He's trying to talk to her and not insult her. He could light her up horribly, but that might actually end the show. Right? But she's asking to be lit up because she's just going, you're okay with, you're a bad guy too. You're a bad guy also. That's not the answer.
that an appropriate punishment for people who are fleeing gang violence and coming here seeking a better life.
According to you,
do you think that an appropriate punishment is to be disappeared into a foreign jail cell to be tortured?
Okay, number one, the people who let them in is us. I am not mad at the migrants for coming here at all. I am not mad at them coming. I get it. I might come too. I'm not mad at them for that. We let them in. We opened our borders, let them in, and now we're punishing them. That's our fault. That's not theirs. We should have said, no, don't come. We're not letting you in. No. And then they came to our cities and we gave them sanctuary. We did that. That's our fault. This is New York City's fault. We did it. New York City has no one to blame but us. We did it. We let them in and we gave, I said, we did it. Not their fault. What did they do? What did they do? We let them in. And she's like, the appropriate punishment is. Punishment for who? How about punishment for Biden for letting them in? How about that? How about that one? Let's punish him. Is that the right answer? I'll go back to the same thing. Someone, and this is a libertarian answer, and this is why I'm going to give it to her because she's not libertarian at all. But if someone comes in, breaks into my house, and they have a bat, not a gun, they have a bat. They come into my house with my bat. I have 2 daughters that I'm worried about. And it's 2 men. 2 big men come into my house, one with a knife, one with a bat. And they want to come in and rob, I don't know, take like my computer stuff and go sell it because they're both addicts and they want their fix. I'm making this story up. I draw a firearm. I fire and kill them both. She would say, so someone who has an addiction and getting their fix, the appropriate punishment is death? That's what she would say. And I would say, you came into my house with weapons, 2 big men against me and my daughters. You got killed? What are you going to do? And I would stand by that 100%. She wouldn't. She would say, and the appropriate punishment for an addict trying to get his fix is death? No, the appropriate punishment for some guys coming to my house, my daughter's getting killed? Yeah, that's appropriate. It's completely in line. Yep, totally in line. You had a choice of not coming into my home with my daughters in my home. You had a choice. You made that choice. And the answer, of course, is, oh, so your goods are more valuable than their lives? No, they chose that, not me. They chose that. I didn't choose that. I didn't go into their house. They came into mine. The argument doesn't work. Whenever someone goes, the appropriate punishment is, that doesn't work. That's not accurate. That argument never works. There's also another terrible Democratic argument they use all the time. The appropriate punishment is this. They're doing the thing. They're making the choice.
Indefinitely and subjected to slave labor.
What I think is that their responsibility and safety is the problem of the Venezuelan government, and that they can argue to the government of El Salvador and identify these individuals.
My question.
This goes right back. Look at her dominating. Answer my question. Wow. I have warned you that's who she is, haven't I? If you've been watching this show, I have warned you who she is. This is the ball buster that she is. This is the ball buster. This is why I often tease and go, she has an older son named Kyle. That's why I say that, because I know who she is. I've met this woman, not her, but this type of woman before. I know this type of woman very well. Yes, that's who she is. Now, Saagar is kind of laughing. He's like, I don't know what I'm doing with this now. Now, here's the problem. Saagar's wife is going to start getting mad at this. Imagine you're Saagar's wife. And he's dealing with this. She's not going to like this. She's going to be upset. She's going to be upset. He's going to hear something about this. This is probably why they didn't go back together the next day. Because Saagar's wife was like, that BRTC. You know Saagar's wife said that to him. Yes. And if any of you are married, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Now, assuming that Krystal didn't get a call from Saagar's wife, I don't know how aggressive Saagar's wife is, but she might have got a phone call. Who do you think you are? She might have got that call. It's possible. I don't know. Or she might be like, I don't want to mess with my husband's money. Let me be quiet. I'm going to tell my husband, I don't want to go mess with his money. But I think some of you know women who will go to their husband's job. I don't know if Saagar married. I don't know his wife at all. If she's like that, Krystal got a phone call. That's all I'm saying. I don't know.
Okay with you,
Krystal.
Is it okay with you? You think it is an appropriate punishment for someone who crossed our border seeking a
The problem is he doesn't know how to handle this argument, right? The advantage of someone like me who's been on campaign for 8 years, I know exactly how to handle this argument. It is a broken up, and this argument, by the way, only comes to Democrats. Republicans never had this argument. This is a Democratic argument, and it is a shame argument. It is always a shame argument. It is, see, how can you think this way? You're a bad person. The argument is not logical. It is a shame argument. Sadly, most people fall for it. You've got to accept that's a shame argument. Show it right there, because if you don't stop it now, she won't stop. You have to counter that argument immediately. It will shut her down for the future. He doesn't know that, though.
Better life to be disappeared with zero due process into a foreign jail cell to be tortured. Are you good with that?
First of all, look, you're offering up a lot of claims which you don't even necessarily to be true. In the same way.
Yeah, thank you. He's finally calling her a liar. He should have called her a liar a long time ago. But yes, what he should be saying is, you're just making things up. He's being nice. You're offering out things you don't know. No, you're just making shit up, Krystal, because you're mad because you really want Trump to be wrong so bad. Your TDS is really like, oh, so much TDS. No, my TDS acting up this morning. Got to deal with it. Yes.
Hey, you can't say for certain or whatever they've been tortured. Oh, they had their head shaven by the El Salvadorian.
This is what this prison is known for.
Okay, that's again,
the whole point of what
Okay, she's right. Rikers Island is also known for gang assault. Yeah, you're okay with that, Krystal? You're okay with in America that we have a jail. That's you okay with that, Krystal? You okay with that? Harris is okay with that. Hochul's okay with that. Adams is okay with that. They're okay with that. You okay with that, Krystal? That's how you got to stop this. He doesn't know how to stop this. That's his problem. So yes. Phil, thank you for being a member. He says, I voted for you. Oh, thank you, Phil. And left the Republicans when you got ballot access because I want an independent libertarian party and not be taken over through fusion voting. I believe in third party project. Me too. Yes. Me too. Yes. 100%. Dave says, Larry R shouldn't happen to anyone. Agreed. Agreed. Now, I'm not saying the person is LGBT. I don't know they are or not. I don't know, right? But if I'm a lawyer and I think that's the way to save them, I'm going to say that too. I'm just being forward with you. Like I've been on defense teams. You want to protect your client to the best of their ability. So there are certain things you might say is all I'm saying. You might say that. I don't know. But maybe, but I don't want, doesn't matter. I don't care. No one should be violated in that way, period. I don't care if you're straight, gay, man, woman. No one should be. That's not a thing that should happen. So yes, absolutely, 100%. So yes. Dave goes on to say, Larry, the conservative commentator, probably thinks homosexuality should be treated as a crime if he's gay. Send him to El Salvador in prison. Who cares? Not a problem anywhere. He doesn't. Saagar doesn't. But there are those who do. I think that's true. I don't think he does, though. I don't think that's how Saagar thinks. I've never seen him be in that regard. I've never seen him be openly anti-LGBT. I've never seen him. I mean, I don't know him personally, so he might be. I don't know him. But I would say this right here, he's never shown it here. That's what I would say. Christine says, TDS is a thing. It is. And I've been saying it for a long time, and people think it's not. But it is. Like, I've seen it. I live in New York City. I see some people who they have to talk bad about. Now it's Musk. It used to be Trump. Now it's kind of mixing and matching. It's almost like Musk derangement syndrome. It's kind of going there where like they just have to say something about it. No matter what. You could be like ordering a pizza or something. And they're like, yeah, I'll take pepperoni. And man, doesn't Trump suck? What? I'll take the pepperoni and the pizza and Trump sucks. Where'd that come from? Just I got to tell you. Oh, okay. Sorry. All right. Like they're like that. Like they have to say something, right? I want to get salami, Swiss cheese, mustard on rye, and Elon Musk is terrible. What? That's what I'm dealing with. That's totally correct. Orange Man is bad. And you need to be aware of that. I got to keep reminding you of that, Christine, because you might have forgotten. So we got to keep going. We just got to keep going. Just to make sure you're sure on that one. Yes. Christine says, Larry getting triggered. I'm trying to not get triggered, Christine. Mike gets mad at me when I get triggered. So I'm trying to not get triggered. I'm being good. Yes. Shin says, Larry, you are totally correct. Somehow the Democrats keep losing to the most regressive and vicious GOP. It doesn't matter, right? You see it here in New York. If you don't have an answer, people take the other answer. It's just the way it is. AC says, if they'd done something to stop the voter suppression from getting 3.5 million people's votes tossed out, she would have won, as you say, fail a plan. Well, I don't know about that before, but if that's true, again, the reason why I don't talk about the voting much at all anymore, AC, is because with 2016, that was already a worry. But in 2020, everybody was talking about voter machine, voter suppression, voter everything. If you're not prepping for that, I agree with you. Everyone should have been. Left and right. We all should have been. And what I kept saying, people kept asking about it. I said, you got to make sure wherever you live, you have to make sure that you have a lot of people involved. The more eyeballs involved with every aspect of it, whether it's mailing out your ballot, whether it's being at the physical machine, whether it's doing the photocopying, whatever it is, the more eyeballs involved, the less chance you'll have a problem. The less chance you'll get votes tossed out. The less, I mean, some of it's gonna happen no matter what, AC, right? I mean, it's still humans, but you lower the amount and you lower the odds by the more eyeballs on it, because most people don't want to get caught. So what do? The more eyeballs, less chance they'll do the dirty deed. So yeah, I think you're right. That's very true. Yes. All righty. AC goes on to say, after they're done decorating all of the Hispanics, I think you mean deporting, Do you think they'll deport all the black people to Africa? No, I don't. I don't think they're not going to deport Hispanics either. That's not a thing. It's not. There's at least 20 million. At least. I mean, I don't know how many. It's at least 20 million. 30 maybe not. I don't know. Whatever. There's at least 20. You're not getting rid of them all. Not going to happen. This is performative. Right? And it's okay. That's what he said he's going to do. So it's performative. Again, AC, the big business wants these people. They want them. And they're going to put them to work. And if Trump actually, if Trump keeps going, and Holman, and I think Holman is a zealot, and Holman might try. I think he might. But the second that he gets too harsh and goes too far, and big business goes, whoa, 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 whoa. Remember who owns you. Whoa. You're going to have a problem and stop. Now, how do I know that? Ukraine war. Israel war. Remember how Trump was going to stop both of them? And I told everybody he can't? It wasn't because he physically couldn't or he didn't want to. I honestly believe Trump wants to stop both wars. I think he wants to stop both. I think he wants to be the peacemaker. I think he wants to get credit for it all. I think he wants his peace prize like Obama got. I think he honestly wants to do that. I do think he wants to stop both wars. I think honestly he does. Not that he cares about Ukraine or Israel. I think he cares either way. But I do think he wants to stop both wars. I do believe that. But there's a whole lot of money involved in that. As I've been saying, I've been following this war all the years. And people like, oh, when you say military complex, Larry, you're just a Putin puppet, whatever. No. That's a real thing. There's far too much money in this. That's why the mineral rights thing comes up, because somebody got to get paid. That's how that works. That's the reason why that works. It's not random mineral rights. It's because someone's got to get paid or this war isn't ending. That's how that works. Putin wants a cut of that too. That's why Putin wants a direct deal with us. That's why he wants that. There's a whole lot of money in these migrants, like billions of dollars of labor. He ain't getting rid of them all. No way. That's a fantasy. If Holman, all of a sudden remember Trump was going to end both wars. All of a sudden he can't. Why? Because magic? No, because people money said, dude, I got billions of dollars on this, homeboy. You ain't stopping this. So you got a plan for me to get my money back. Then we can talk. Until then, you're nothing. And this, what's wrong with you? That's what actually happened to him. And you may think I'm crazy. You know I'm right. And when it comes to get rid of all the migrants, well, now if the robots come in and start picking all the crops and start doing all the hospitality work, then maybe they don't care. Holman to get rid of them all. But unless that happens, he's not getting rid of them all. They're going to stop him. He'll go to a certain point and they'll go, you need to have a problem. I don't know, blame Democrats or something. And Trump will blame Democrats. He'll say, I was going to get rid of them all, but then, I don't know, Chuck Schumer did something or whatever. He'll make something up. That's how that works. I wish I was joking. I'm not. I wish I was. Kat says, oh, Destiny. I was in his audience for years. He has lost the plot so badly. Correct. I've been on the show twice. In Suspect, I suspect he's being paid by Dems. All of a sudden he was pro-institutions, hated RFK parties. Yes, he all of a sudden became a Democrat. That guy was like the left of the left. And all of a sudden it's like, oh no, I'm as establishment as can be. I've always been establishment. Yeah, I actually debated him on the idea of how bombing never works. He was trying to give me reasons how bombing worked. I'm not joking. If you look at that Larry Sharpe Destiny, literally, it's like I was explaining how bombing doesn't work ever. And he literally did homework and said, well, in this case, I said, no, it didn't. It didn't work there either. It never works. And then later on, he went on a show and talked about how he wished he had done more homework before he talked to me. He's like, I told this guy Larry Sharpe, I should have done some more homework. I'm like, yeah, you should have. Yeah, because bombing doesn't work. It's not a thing that works. Yeah. Anyway, yes. Gene says, I voted for Obama the first time. See that? When he didn't do what he said he would do, I didn't vote for him the second time. Yes. Gene, me and you, thinking the same way. We fell for it together. What are you going to do? Can't always be 100. Be 100. Yep, absolutely. So Marco says she lives in a gated community. Of course he does. Of course she does. Of course she does. She lives right outside of D.C. in a gated community. Of course she does. Yes. Andrea says she doesn't have to deal with the ramifications of having an influx of people coming to her community. She should ask what the people of South Side of Chicago. Yes. That's the point. Yes. That's the point. 100%. She doesn't have to worry about it. She is literally privileged. So of course she thinks that. Yes. AC says, you're smarter than to believe that I think you mean trickle down economics. It isn't the migrants that are taking people's jobs, gets the job creators who, instead of creating jobs, did mergers and shut things. Okay, first off, I assume it means trickle down. Trickle down economics does work, just not for Americans. Trickle down economics did work for everyone outside of America. We put money into massive international companies. They made $1 gazillion, and a whole bunch of people in like Southeast Asia, East Asia, some parts of the Middle East, some parts of Africa, some parts of Eastern Europe were pulled out of poverty. So for them, it kind of worked, I guess. Kind of. Not for us. It just devastated us. That's correct. But you're strawmanning me. I never said trickle down economics works. I never said that. You never heard me say that. I mean, I did, but in this, not for Americans, right? It worked for the rest of the world, not for us, right? But I've never said it's good for Americans. I've never said that ever. That's a straw man argument. And not just that, I didn't say that mergers and putting in robots and stuff and offshoring wasn't a thing. Of course it is. I literally just said robots coming in. Of course it is. But the jobs that weren't replaced by any of that were people who work in the fields. You can do mergers and do offshore stuff all day long. That's not going to pick the crops. That's not going to clean the sheets in a hotel. That's not going to serve people or cook the food in the local diner. No, they're not related. But you know what? Those jobs were jobs that many years ago, people would work at, grow, and they could raise a family on. I know my mom was one of those people. You could do it. You can do it anymore. And why? Because they're bringing in, those people have been replaced by immigrants. That's true. They've been replaced by immigrants. So they're not the same. They're not related in that regard. They both suck, but they're not related in that regard. I hope that makes sense at least. So, all righty. I think I grabbed a bunch of, I was trying to grab so many of those. Kat goes on to say, I love breaking points for the first year or two, but she really started to piss me off. Yeah, I think it's a problem, right? Phil says, there's a term for some of Krystal's attitudes, luxury beliefs. Accurate, right? I can afford to care about these things because I'm set, right? Krystal's never gonna have to worry about whether her kids go to college or not. Irrelevant for her. She doesn't have to worry about health care. She doesn't worry about that. She's good. She goes to private doctors. I don't know that, but I know that because she's wealthy, so she goes to private doctors. Kyle makes tons of money. She makes tons of money. They don't worry about insurance. I mean, they might use it here or there for like checkups and stuff, maybe, but they go to private doctors. They write a check or they swipe their credit card. They all go to private doctors. They live in gated communities. They don't worry about stuff. They're more about going on vacation. They go when they on vacation when they want to go. They're not worried about how much they don't care about the interest on their car payment. Why? Because they buy the car outright or their company leases it. I know, I lease cars myself, so I know. So their company either leases the car or they just buy it outright. They don't care what the interest rate is. Do they have a mortgage in their house? They don't care about that. Doesn't matter to them. They're not living in the same world everyone else is. So they worry about things like, bad guy Trump. They worry about that. They're not food insecure. She's not worried about that. In fact, I would argue the odds are she doesn't even go shopping. I don't know that. That one I don't know. I know she was private doctors. I'd bet money on that. But I don't know. But she may not even go shopping. Yes, you have someone to go shopping for you. People who are wealthy don't go shopping. You have whoever is your house and whoever's your home engineer, whoever they are, that person also fills your fridge. So you don't go, it fills your cupboard. You don't go shopping. You don't do that. I know some of you are like, what? That's how wealthy people don't go shopping. So unless they want to, like they want to go, then they go. Otherwise they don't go shopping. Sometimes depending on how wealthy they are, they don't even cook. They'll have their chef create meals or meal prep for them. Depends upon how wealthy they are. I don't know if she does that. Those two things I don't know if she does. But I know she was private doctors, guaranteed. So yeah. Anyway, so yeah, you guys are completely correct. I appreciate that tremendously. Keep going a little bit longer.
Prison is known for.
I think it's, look, as I continue to say, when you let in 8 to 10 million people and you elect a president who says, I'm going to use the Alien and Enemies Act to mass deport people and stand in front of a sign, and then you win the popular vote, then yeah, I am okay with it. And in fact, the only problem I have with the Trump administration is that they've been prioritizing.
And look at how he's looking at her, looking at the camera. He knows exactly what he's saying. He's correct. She had 2 arguments. I gave her the arguments to use because I think disappearing people's terrible. I want her to win this argument, and she can't. Why can't she win it? TDS. And the worst part is, I have watched the response from the left to this, and they think she did great. Nobody who believes she's right is saying what I'm saying. They're all like, she was great and she pushed back on Saagar. No, what they mean is she insulted Saagar and made him look like the MAGA guy that he is. That's what happens. And when that happens, you don't win any converts. What you do is you just rally your own base. Well, guess what? You still lose an election that way. You still lose the election, don't you? Because your base didn't show up, and it won't show up. In fact, you're losing some of your base. This was not a win for her. This was not, and it could have been, because she had 2 good arguments, which she didn't use at all because she was so busy trying to insult. You're okay with this, you bad person? You're a bad person. Yeah, absolutely. So, all right, let me keep going.
Advertising this stupid shit like trying to deport someone like Mahmoud Khalil for some billionaire donors and not the people who came here illegally. Those people.
You see, even he knows it. If Mike's watching, he might be out with his dog, but if Mike's watching, Mike's okay with them throwing out the guy, that Khalid guy. I'm not. I'm with Saagar on this one. I don't want to deport any of these people, except for the criminals. I'm okay with that. But they should know they're criminals, which they don't. Anyway, so I'm going off on this. I'm not going to get triggered. Mike, don't be mad. I'm not going to get triggered. Grace, don't tell Mike. Anyway, all I'm saying here is, if I could, that he shouldn't be doing this, and she should be winning this argument, but she's not.
Entered our country criminally and illegally. This whole fleeing a better life is BS.
That's not BS.
They're economic migrants.
Yeah, that's fleeing.
See, and this is the issue. They're economic migrants. Yes. And the problem is she won't say that. Just say it's okay. It's true. Now, I'm sure there are some that are real asylum seekers. I'm sure they exist. That's just how I'm just odds, right? There are some. Most aren't. How do I know that? Because when we decided that we're not going to do this anymore, most turned around and went home. If you're actually fleeing for your life, you come anyway. You're fleeing for your life. You come anyway. Christine says, plumber is a great job. Yes, absolutely. 100%. IC says, all the plumbers I know are true blue Americans. Yes, absolutely. Phil says, plumbers just need to say no to crack. Stop with the jokes. But yes, Grace says, I know plumbers in wealthy neighborhoods who are millionaires. Yes, literally. They were smart about it, but they are as rich as many of rich customers. Correct. Yes. And there's a shortage of plumbers. You can check online. I just saw a video where a guy talking about this. He's talking about, this idea of people just trying to get people to work. And they're interviewing a bunch of people who, have like job applications out, job descriptions out for plumbers. And interviewed this one guy. He goes, I could hire 6 plumbers today. The guy goes, 6? He goes, yeah, 6 today. He goes, why not? They aren't here. I don't have people want to be it. He goes, I would hire 6 plumbers today. And the guy's like, damn, that's everywhere. American young men don't even want to be plumbers. And again, there are some, but to your point, Grace, the smart ones who go, damn, I'm going to be a plumber. Yeah, I'm going to bust my rump and be doing some dirty work for 20 years, but I'm going to be set. And then by the time it's 15, 20 years, I'm not doing dirty work anymore. I'm running a company, and I got the young guys doing dirty work now. I'm doing paperwork at that point. So yeah, when I'm 18 to 35, I'm doing a lot of dirty work. Okay, busting my rump, doing dirty work. By the time I'm 35, 30, 40, I hardly ever have a wrench in my hand anymore. Now I'm hiring youngsters to do it. That's how it's supposed to go. Now, sadly, what winds up happening is some of the plumbers can't stop doing dirty work, Grace. Why? Because they can't get enough people. So what do? They hire migrants. They go, I can't even expand. I want to expand, right? There's only certain houses I can go to. I got to expand. I can't find an American kid to do it. Well, got Colombian kids, they'll do it. Okay. Yep. Kim says, I'm guilty of hating Trump, but because of his self-made reputation. I think he is far better than Harris. Would rather have RFK. Now I'm a bona fide Democrat hater. Yeah, you're not alone, Kim. A lot of people think that, right? And libertarians get mad at me. I was on a show the night where the guy, I told the guy, I said, look, we got something on Trump as libertarians. We got nothing on Harris. No, Trump's evil. I'm like, God, you got TDS too. God, you got TDS too. Yeah, you see it all the time. Yep. AC goes on to say, same with HVAC guys, electricians. Correct. I said plumber just because people think of it as a dirty job. But yes, HVAC guys do harsh work too and can be a very dirty job also. Electricians, not as much dirty job, but dangerous for sure. But these are hard work. And these guys, they make money. You do find women doing it too, but it's just very rare. I mean, it's probably 10% women. It's much less chance. Less women want to do that job than men do, right? And now most men don't want to do it. So yes. The AC says they detained at least 2 citizens of which were aware. One of them who was a veteran, the other one was a mom. This is the part that drives me crazy, AC. I hate this. And she's not even talking about that. She isn't. She's failing to win this argument because of TDS. She should be winning this
for
argument.
a better life.
Okay,
I mean, there are no problems in
Krystal,
Venezuela.
they take advantage of our laws. They illegally.
See, I told you it's legal. Some parts are legal.
Saagar,
Lose their
I'm
asylum
asking a very
status.
discreet question.
Yes, I understand that.
You think it's okay to?
She just falls back to, are you a bad person or not? That's why he's smiling now, because he knows it. And he's smiling. This is for him, he's smiling is a self-defense mechanism. He doesn't know how to light her up or not. Because what she's saying, she just falls back to, are you a bad person? That's what she keeps saying. Her arguments fail. Are you a bad person?
Then randomly take who?
She keeps saying random. It's not random. She's made that up. This is her talking point. What she should be saying is, Saagar, why are you okay with them not knowing if they're actual criminals or not? Why are you okay with that? That is unconstitutional. There is no due process. That's wrong. You know as well as I do, the government will make mistakes. And if 300 people were taken and the government's 99% right, there's 3 people who they made a mistake on. Why are you not okay? Why are you accepting that we don't have exactly their names and their pictures and we don't have the press there to look and see who they might have screwed up on? Why are you against that? Why are you not caring about that part? That's the parts there. And not just that, second part, the precedent. This has never been done before, unless you're at war. Is you're saying that you think that we should be declaring war on these people? Should be declaring war on these gangs? By the way, I'm okay with that myself. If you do that, you don't have to declare war against countries. We've declared war against groups in the past, and we should declare war against Al Qaeda. We should declare war against ISIS. We did not. We should have. And okay, then I'm okay. Declare war against them, whatever cartel, so and so. Declare war against them and move on. I'm okay. He's just saying none of that. These are the arguments that could actually win. Right? Would actually win, and they're not. So yes. The AC says, I mean, that's the default position of both Democrats and Republicans. I don't know that I've heard anybody who's clamoring for people in prison to not work in any way. Do you? No, I think you want people not to be slave labor, right? I think lots of people want prisons to work, but just not the way they do. And the problem with the case of Harris specifically is Harris actually knew some of them shouldn't be in jail and said, but we need the labor, so kept them in jail. I'm not making that up. That actually happened. So yes, absolutely. So
People, we have zero proof that these are gang members, and we should very much mistrust the government.
Okay, that's not true either. That's not accurate. What she should say is she doesn't believe that they're all gang members. That is different than saying we have zero proof. She keeps acting like you just said, hey, you Brown, get in the truck. That's not what happened. But she's acting like that's what happened. Why again? Because she has to say that Trump is horrible and bad. She has to say that. Swinbot says, I live in Chicago and I'm furious over the fact that we wanted the migrants here. As much as my heart goes out to them, our budget, such as it is, exploded over the cost. Swinbot, yes, I'm in New York, same thing. Look, I don't want migrants to suffer. Why would I want that? I don't. I don't even mind them coming. But, and I said 1,000,000 times, come with a plan. If you're going to let them in, have a plan to take care of them, not just government will throw me big checks. That's not a plan. Have an actual budget for them and a way to vet them, a way to make them documented, have a way to do so. If you don't have that way, then don't let them in. Swimbot, we did exactly the reverse. We let them all in with no plan. The exact worst. I completely agree with you. I completely agree with you. So, yes, we're having the same issue, 100%.
Because they've been proven to lie about this previously, we should trust them that they're picking up gang members when they can pick up whoever they want and imprison them in a foreign jail to
whoever they want. They randomly grab people. It's random. Grace says, if Krystal was annoying you as much as she is me, smash the like button. It helps. It does help. Please click the button known as like. If you like what I'm doing, if you like what I'm saying, please make sure so that the show can grow, more people can see it. It's free. Click it. Also share it, repost it, re-exit, whatever the case may be. Put it in X, put it in YouTube, put it in the Facebook group. Let people see it. If you want to help out directly and get your chat right to the front, you can always super chat me on YouTube or rant me on Rumble, either one. If you really want to help out financially, you can. Please become a member. Click that join button, $49 per month. The more of this the more members that I get, the less work I have to do, the more I can spend time on these types of things and give more and more and more content. And that is my hope. I would love to spend more time on this, but as we all do, I also have bills to pay, of course. So yes. And then Liberty says she should apply to the prison as journalist. Wonderful idea. Wonderful idea. I love that. Yes.
Be tortured. You think that is an appropriate punishment for
Again, I told you she would use it. You have to stop that argument, or that argument only, by the way, comes from Democrats. That's it.
Our borders, trying to achieve a better life.
No, I think that
what is TDS? TDS is Trump derangement syndrome. That's what it is. It is no matter what, you have to insult, attack him. He's bad no matter what. He lives rent-free in your head. That happens all the time. Phil says, Elon derangement, ED. If it burns longer than 4 hours, call a doctor. He got the jokes. He does got the jokes, but it's true. Yes, absolutely. Yes. Lunatic Libertarian, thank you for being a member, says, SpaceX is a fraud. Tesla is toxic technology beyond belief, and Starlink is espionage. Yes, and yes. And I will say this. Look, Elon has done some great things. That's true. He's made some great things. It's true. He's kind of become our space people. That's not a bad thing. However, there's a big however there. He is the biggest government grifter of all time. I mean, the biggest government grifter of all time. And you know what? Kudos to him for that, I guess. I mean, he's number one. So I guess you're number one. He is the number one government grifter. 100% true. Yes. So, Kat, thank you for watching over on X, says Anna Kasparian, Saagar would be way better pairing. Okay. Yeah. This dynamic is god awful. Actual Cenk and Krystal would do better matched. As well, because the two hotheads with TDS. Yeah. Maybe. Cenk is a hothead and aggressive. He could actually push back on her well. So yeah, I think that's true. Yeah. I was lucky. I was only on one time with Cenk, and I was able to joke my way around it. So I did some nice jokes. That's how I got away around my time with Cenk. So yeah, but yeah, that was on News Nation last year.
Once again, I think it is clearly within the executive purview to be able to do this.
Stop dodging with the executive purview. Do you think it's right or wrong?
Now it's like, stop dodging. She said, she talked about legal. He says legal. Now she goes, stop dodging. You are a bad person or not? Do you think it's okay? Now is it evil or good now? She just goes back to, are you a bad person? Same. These arguments, if you know how to deal with them, you can just break these arguments in 5 seconds. I spent a lot of time doing it. You can break them in 5 seconds. You're a bad guy. That's all you care about. You're a bad guy.
Because do you think it's right or wrong?
The world is not so black and white. Would I have preferred
do you think it's right or wrong?
Would I have preferred that they...
And the answer is, do you think it's right? And just hammer on what she's done. Just hammer on what she's done. But in reality, I would say, of course not. Of course not. But here's the issue. Of course it's not right. I don't like it. Actually, Saagar doesn't mind it, to be forward. Saagar's actually okay with it. And I get it. A lot of Republicans are totally okay with this. They're completely okay with it. I get it. I'm not okay with this. I'm frustrated and a little triggered because Krystal should be winning this argument. But she can't because she is TDS. I don't have TDS because I don't care, right? I don't have TDS. So I could win this argument for her, but he can't. But she can't. And now he's trying to not, if she does it to me, I go, of course I'm not okay with it. But if you don't know who to blame for it, it's not Trump. You don't know who to blame for this, Krystal? Tomorrow morning when you wake up and look in the mirror, that person. That's who you blame. That person. Because you and your people had no answer. Because you had a far larger audience than I had. Not even close. You had a far larger audience than I had. You had far more impact than I had. And your answer was Kamala Harris, which was no answer. You, Destiny, Bosch, Vanguard, all those guys. You had so much. And what was your answer? Harris, no answer. And now you're mad. And this is the reason why she's so mad. Because she knows it's her fault. She knows she screwed up. She knows it. You didn't screw up? I'll say it again to give them shout outs. RBN didn't screw up. Sabrina Salvador didn't screw up. Breonna Joy Gray didn't screw up. Marianne Williamson didn't screw up. Jill Stein didn't screw up. Chase Oliver didn't screw up. All of them were like, this is bad. Don't do this. We need an answer. Let's find an answer for this. This is bad. Don't do this. Find an answer. All of them. They didn't say vote Harris, no answer. They didn't say that.
Release the list of all of the names and the dossier for each one of these people? Absolutely. It would actually make it the histrionics coming from a lot of.
See, he agrees with me on this one. On this one, he agrees with me. All that information should be out. Even he gets it. He knows that's wrong. He knows that's wrong. Arresting 300 people and not literally saying, here are the people who did it, right? Here are the people who we arrested. Here are their names and their pictures. If we made a mistake, please let us know. They're not doing that. That's a problem.
Do you think there should be due process? And that's the whole point of having due process. So that they can have an opportunity to prove the things you're saying about me are not true. But instead, don't you think it's telling that they had this plane ready to go?
Dave says, TDS might be a thing, but Trump and company are jerks. True. The DOD relied on AI to vet DEI, and AI ended up deleting the Enola Gay, an African-American Medal of Honor recipient, and one of them raised it. Yeah, I'm not saying you're wrong at all. I'm not. But the problem is when you have TDS, you don't say these things, Dave. You just say, look how bad they are. You don't have an answer. See, here's the problem. DEI, most Americans are actually against it. They don't like it, right? Ryan, thank you for $2, man. He goes, Trump forced me to drink Budweiser. It's funny. I like that. That's very good. Thank you for that one, man. But my point here being, right? Yes, he's a jerk. I've said it. He is. It's true. But that's not enough to win an election. That's enough to change it, right? The American media and the American Democratic Party and most of the left, but not all of it, has been calling Trump bad for years. They literally called him Hitler, literally. Doesn't work, man. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying it isn't effective. I'm not even saying Krystal's wrong. I agree with her. Well, not the way she says it, but it doesn't work. It doesn't work. It fails. And the sad part is if you look at most people on the left who watch this and look at their response, most of the responses were, she did great. She pushed back on her. What they mean is she virtue signaled, which doesn't work. It is ineffective. You don't have an answer. Yes, that's the problem. You have to have an answer. And they don't. That's the big issue. So, yeah. Anyway, let me keep going a little bit longer than we'll stop.
So that they could avoid any of that scrutiny and that they are now disappeared into a foreign prison where there is no ability to know who these people are. And by the way, there were children as young as 14 who were part of this because the Alien Enemies Act says it's 14 or older.
What is your answer?
So you're talking about not just grown men, you're talking about, teenage boys here as well. Like that's what we're talking about. We're talking about the government.
Kim says Americans are sick of working for low wages for the elite wealthy who look down on the working class. Accurate statement. But there are jobs that Americans could take that aren't that way. They're tougher jobs, but they get paid decently, but they won't take it. And as I'm telling you, like plumbers, right? Like plumbers. Now, why do people look down on plumbers? And some people do. I don't, obviously, and people who know plumbers don't. But there's an elite in this country who looks down on plumbers. That's true. Why? Government funding. What, Larry? Did you just make the government bad on that? Yes, I did. Yes, I did. The government funds schools based upon college placement. So all the people in school tell people, don't become a plumber. That's for dumb kids. That's for the bad kids. Don't do that. It's all across America. Been there for doing it for decades. So now they're taught, don't do that. Go to college and there'll be some magical great job waiting for you once you're done. And that's not true at all. It has been true for decades, but they've been telling them that. So now even that happens. And plumbers are a good job. You make good money. If you're in New York State and you're a plumber, by the time you're 30, I mean, probably before that, but for sure, no matter where you are in the state, even if you're in areas that are more poor, by the time you're 28, 29, you're making six figures. What other job are you be making that? So, yeah, I'm agree with you, but that's not all jobs though, right? What's that guy? Oh my God, Mike Rowe. Mike Rowe's talking about this for years. There are jobs that American kids could take, particularly young men, women too, but not as much. Actually, young women are doing relatively well, relatively compared to the men. But young men can be taking these jobs. They don't want them. They won't do it. They would rather sit in front of a computer and play video games than take this job. So yes. AC goes, yes, but the mergers and offshore on the robots and all the efficiency measures and the hoarding of wealth, keeping down of the wages is what's agitating people, and the migrants are getting scapegoated. I think part of that's true. But I think if you have a legal migration process where legal migrants are able to unionize if they want to, are able to have ownership in the company if they want to, I think that's the key aspect, I think, is the vast majority of U.S. companies should be offering one or two things very easily, and that is unionization or ownership. If that becomes the norm, then migrants become okay because then everybody has the option to do that, which by default would raise wages. Why would that raise wages? Because you'd either be unionized, number one, or two, you'd have ownership, which means you would either have control over what wages are, or you'd be choosing to get profits, whatever the case may be in your world, however you're going to do it. The problem is right now our unions are utterly broken in every ways. And unions are also monopolies. They should not be monopolies. You should be able to create as many unions as you want, however you want to. And worker ownership is, almost unheard of. Very few co-ops here or there. It's not even done there. So you should be able to do all three of them if you want to. I think if you made that happen, that's the key, right? Because even if you had more unionization and or ownership, that would shift the mergers because people would be controlling the mergers more. And if there was an offshoring, the workers would get a cut of that. So they would still get higher wages overall because they'd get the profit sharing. Or if it was unionized, you have to make a deal with the unions in some way, shape, or form. So either way, it would work. That is the issue. The issue is labor is at a massive disadvantage. That's the actual issue, is labor is at a massive disadvantage. If that makes sense. I hope that makes sense to you. It seems to make sense to me. So yes. Andrea says, Larry, it wouldn't be a Sharpe way show if you didn't get triggered. Well, there we go. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Yes. IC says, Larry, exactly. Most were economic asylum seekers. The flow is, 100%. Yes, the vast majority were. Were there some that weren't? Probably. I assume there are some, but just because odds, but the vast majority were. Yes. IC goes on to say, the bill to replace my hot water tank was $2,400. Plumbers make bank. Yes. Absolutely true. And we should not be looking down at plumbers, but many people do, particularly elites like her. They do, right? I know people, particularly some women who won't date someone unless that person has their education or higher. Doesn't matter how much money they make. So if you've got a master's degree and you make $70K a year and you meet a plumber who only has a high school diploma, makes $150K a year, you won't date him. That's my city. I don't know if that's your city where you live. That's my city. That is in my city, New York City, that's actually a thing. They will literally go, oh no, I would, but he doesn't have a college degree. Okay, he makes twice as much money as you. He owns his own business. Yeah, but I don't know. Yeah. Shin says that Larry, there's more life than money. Also, college tends to be a superior choice of future earnings. Not true. Obviously, it depends on individuals do. That's not true. Let me be clear about this. That's a story they tell you, Shin. That's not true anymore. The difference, the high school diploma versus non-high school diploma, believe it or not, is a massive change. If you don't graduate high school versus graduating high school, the change in income is massive. Now you might go, wait a minute, Larry, how can you say that? Let me tell you why, Shin. Most of these studies done on this are over someone's work lifetime. Well, if you work lifetime, well, how old are you now? And the studies are often 10 years old. That means you're talking about people who are 75 years or older. Well, for those people, that was accurate because you went to college 55 years ago. If you went to college back in 1970, that was accurate. 1980, that was accurate. 1990, that was accurate. 2000, 2010, no. How do I know that? Look at who's making money now. People making money now, you look at the average person who's in their 20s, 30s, even 40s now, college degree versus non-college degree, about the same. That story is no longer true. That story was true 55 years ago. It's not true anymore. It does not work. It's not an accurate statement. That's a story being told by the government to make you go to college for no damn reason. Yeah, not at all. Garrett, thank you, my friend, coming in. Get the 10 Sharpe memberships. Guys, grab these memberships if you would, please. Remember the rule. If you made $10 million this week, you may not take that. You have to pay for it, pay the $4.99. If you did not make 10 million, if you made like 9 million or less is fine. If you made less than $9 million this week. If you made less than that, you can take one of these free memberships. So please go ahead. If anyone actually made $10 million, do not take this membership. Pay the $4.99. You made $10 million. That's what I'm saying. So thank you for that, my friend. I appreciate that tremendously. All righty. Let me grab a couple more of these. Here. All right. Christine says, I wish I could have afforded a Hillsdale for my son, or that I had encouraged him to go to a trade school. Sadly, he's been indoctrinated. It happens to many of us. Yes. John says, many elites look down on everyone that does not have to wear a tie, dress up for the job. They grudgingly accept professional athletes and entertainers. Correct. What they often say is a saying they have, do you shower before work or after? Right? So the idea is you shower after work, you do that kind of work. Versus me, I shower before I go to work. See, I do that kind of work, making me clearly better than you. And I think a lot of people do think that. I do think that's often true. And again, silly, doesn't make sense, but it absolutely, some people do believe it. Absolutely. Paula says, in my part of the Midwest, electricians are the ones killing it. There we go. There's a critical shortage of electricians. It's the trades. The trades are the issue. They're the ones that no one's being in. Let me wrap this up with this real fast.
Claiming an ability to intern, deport summarily with no due process and hold in a foreign prison whoever they want.
And she will just say random.
Because
what we have to do is say, no matter what, Trump is dictator, Trump is fascist, Trump's all these things. Now, you might go, well, Larry, he's a bad guy. And today's point, yeah, he's a jerk. I said it. He's a jerk. It's true. But what they told us last year, remember this, what they told us? They told us he was Hitler. They said that. I didn't say that. They did. Where are they building the camps now? We got the armbands. They told us they said there'd be no more elections. Remember that? They told us that. There's no more elections. Remember that? This election's coming up this year. Next year too. They said no elections. Remember that? You've been crying wolf since 2015. And now no one hears you. Whose fault is that? Krystal, look in the mirror.
We have no way to know who these people are. We don't even know for sure that they're Venezuelan. We don't know for sure that they're migrants.
Okay, this is a valid point, and this is what she should have just said. Again, I am not in favor of disappearing people. at all. It is a terrible idea. It is a terrible precedent. We should not do it at all. Disappearing people is what terrible people and terrible companies do. Disappearing them is bad. 100%, no doubt, it's bad. We should not be disappearing people. Now, so what should her argument be? Her argument should be, this was done poorly, and here's the answer. And I will tell you that my answer is the right answer, period. But if you don't use my answer, at least this answer is, all their names should be posted. You should allow for at least one, if not multiple reporters to be there to interview them. And we should know their names and their pictures in case we made a mistake. Done. And now you have due process. Because you go through, oh, wait a minute, that's actually Bobby. He didn't do anything wrong. Here's evidence, here's proof, bring him home. At least that. That's not her argument. Her argument is Trump's dictator, getting random people, he's bad. Are you okay with this? Blah, 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 blah. That's what she's doing. And it doesn't
enter the country illegal. This is what I'm saying. The level of concern you have for a bunch of illegal immigrants it's honestly maddening to me that you would think it.
See, he's trying to be good.
It's okay to let 8 to 10 million people here in this country illegally, many of whom who commit crimes.
She can't even let him finish because she has to virtue signal. She's been yapping the whole time. He then wants to yap, get his yapping in. She can't let him. He's saying, you have all this care for these people who are illegal immigrants and probably gang members. That's what he's saying, right? How about for Americans? She's like, I care about everybody. I'm going to, of course you do. You're worth at least 7 figures, if not 8 with your hubby. Sorry, your oldest son. You're worth at least 7 figures, if not 8. Shit, if I'm worth 7 figures, I care about the world too. I love the whole world. I got my 3rd house, my 4th car. I love the world too. Of course, this is privileged. Was it luxury beliefs, right? Did I get that right? Luxury beliefs, you get that right, Phil? That's what she is. You're privileged. Of course you care about the greater things because you're so privileged. You're so
okay,
awesome.
That's great. That's the job of the United Nations. Our job is to protect our country. The United States Constitution
tell me how it protects
and laws,
our country.
as well as the Alien Enemies Act, which has stood up to multiple constitutional
Tell me how
review,
it protects our country to handle.
She can't, look, he's laughing because she won't stop talking and she won't even listen to him. She has to talk over him. She has to make him feel bad. She just has to attack.
And the president, the ability to randomly round up.
And the problem is he's not saying it. He should say to her, can I talk? Why won't you let me talk? Do you have to talk over me? I would literally say that. So you have to talk over me because you're afraid of what I'm going to say? You are afraid of what I'm going to say, so you must talk over me? Is that how that works? Because you know if I say it, you're going to look bad. Is that what you're saying? Just want to keep talking? This way you'll look better? Is that what you want? Or the virtue signaling? Is that the most important piece? Are the people at home thinking how good you are? Are the people at home thinking you're good yet? You are the most virtuous. Look how virtuous you are. You care about everybody. Oh my God. Look at that.
And the court, random. Whoever he wants. How do you know that?
What do you mean?
What proof have you been given?
Of what? That these are Venezuelan nationals?
Of who they are
yes,
at
actually,
all.
there is proof that they were Venezuelan nationals.
Yes, there is. That's the point. She said zero proof and she's making that up. Now, again, she does have an answer. She has an argument, I should say. They didn't give the appropriate due process. They should have. And they didn't. They should have. So, over on Rumble Mania, GG gifted 10 subscriptions. Thank you so much, guys. This is so good. The more subscription, the better. We are trying to rock this to the best of our ability. I'm trying to keep this going. I appreciate that so much, guys. Thank you for all the gifts. The more we can do, the better. I appreciate it. Yes.
But beyond that, now, again, we can criticize process in here all day long. But I do think that.
Look at that. He says it, the process. He goes, we criticize it all day long. He moves on. That's smart because that's the problem. The process is the problem.
That is a philosophical trap where look at the status quo that we were living in. 15 to 20 million illegal immigrants who entered this.
Yes.
Country, 8 to 10 million of them over a 4-year period. A resounding popular vote victory for a person who said, I am going to mass deport. In fact, I think this is probably one of the most popular things that Trump.
She can't eat. She's like, okay. She's like, she doesn't want to even let him finish.
Will do. And if liberals want to mount a great fight on this I say be my guest.
But
because
Saagar,
this is the irony of this.
He hasn't, if you've listened, he hasn't finished 2 sentences without her cutting him off. I'm not making that up. He hasn't been able to say 2 sentences without her cutting him off. It shows how broken she is and how she just wants to just say Trump is evil. Will you just say he's evil? He's evil.
Situation.
Say it.
I don't know whether it would be popular or not. I actually
I'm
kind
absolutely
of doubt
certain
that.
it will be.
Wow. She actually goes, I don't know if it's going to be popular. It's clearly popular. Okay. I just want to be clear. And this is something that right now Democrats are doing terribly. They keep just saying, well, he doesn't have a mandate. Remember that guy got up with his cane? Oh, you don't have a mandate. Remember that guy? Right? You have a mandate. You can say he doesn't have a mandate all you want. Everyone believes he has a mandate. He does. That's just cope. It's just copium. And when they hear, you got to push back on that mandate. You don't have to push back on anything. All she did was push back on that anyone who isn't already a Democrat doesn't believe. Doesn't believe. They don't know he doesn't mandate. It's true. He does. Right? And he telegraphed it. He literally said, we're going to have the biggest deportation in the history since Eisenhower. He said it more than once. He doubled down on it. He tripled down on it. Absolutely tripled down on it. And people voted for him. Saagar's right here. That is not the argument. Andrea goes, she's delusional, I think it's not popular. Yes, at least 80% of Americans, if not more, at least 80% are absolutely against open borders. At least 80%, if not more. That's just true on check any poll ever done in the history of polls. It's how it works. Americans don't want open borders, and they want people who are criminals to be removed from the country. That's what they want. It's true. Ryan goes, Democrats have approval rating of 29%. This is true. Democrats have their I'm not joking. Democrats have their lowest approval rating since NBC's been doing approval ratings. The lowest since they've been doing approval ratings. And she's like, I don't know if it's popular. What world do you live in? I know where she lives in. She lives in her world where she's in her little private spot doing all her stuff. Yes, Shelly's at her 80%. There we go. See? At least 8%. Shelly gets it. Exactly. Ryan says to Andrea, she's delusional. Yes, 100%. Yes, it is insane. There's no way this is not the case. Right? Absolutely. Joel says, I don't want to go to an El Salvadorian prison. I think I'll avoid being an illegal alien in the U.S. unless you are fleeing for your life, Joel. And that's my point. Unless you are fleeing for your life. Some people are still coming. And those who are still coming, they might actually be fleeing for their lives. I'm sure some are, right? Just because odds. If you got 8 million people coming across the border, I'm sure some are actually fleeing for their lives. I'm sure some are, right? And if you're fleeing for your life, you'll risk the prison. Of course you would. So my point is, 8 million of those people are not all fleeing for their lives. That's just not a thing. That's a fantasy. That's a fantasy. So yes, that's not a thing.
Doubt that disappearing people into a foreign prison is that popular. But maybe you're right. You know what?
Oh, but maybe you're right. Again, she says no, but then realizes that was a knee-jerk reaction of her own head going, I don't want to believe it. And it goes, maybe you're right. She's done maybe you're right twice already. Anyway, we don't have to go any further with this. I've given you enough. You understand. This is the same thing all the way through. But the biggest point I want to bring up with the whole thing is many people who are Democrats or on the left, they think she did great. They do. They think that she did great. She didn't. The problem is they don't know any better. Sadly for Democrats, if you're a Democrat or you lean left, your party is in trouble. And I mean big time trouble if you think this is good. If you think this is good, your party's in trouble and you're in trouble. You have to be able to repair this. Answers are everything. If you don't have an answer, it's the same old thing. All they do is just insult, 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 insult. It hasn't worked in 10 years. 10 years of insulting Trump, and he's the president again. It doesn't work. If you want someone to believe you're right, let someone hear the other argument then attack it. This actually doesn't show very good for breaking points. It doesn't. I warned you, if you remember, I talked about this about 2 weeks ago. I said, I'm worried breaking points is going to end. Why? Because she is taking over. She is dominating and wrecking it and making it unwatchable, and doesn't know and doesn't care. Be very clear. She doesn't get it and doesn't care. She must be right. Trump must be evil, and that's that. Why do you think, if you watch, you look at, oh my God, I keep forgetting the other woman's name. You told me who it was, Phil. You told me who it was. The other woman and Ryan Grimm, if you watch them, what do they always do? They keep talking about their other show, Drop Site. They keep talking about it. Why do they keep talking about Drop Site? Why do they want people to keep going to Drop Site? Because they don't know how long Breaking Point is going to last. That's why. Because they don't know how long Breaking Point is going to last. So they're like, you know what? We got this other thing over there. This is thing over here. So if this falls apart, come to us. They've already got that already. They've already got Drop Site going on. Now, my assumption is that either Saagar and or Krystal have invested in that, and it's partly theirs, is my assumption. I don't know that to be true. I don't know. But if I was them, that's what I would do. So that's my assumption, is that that's part of it. They probably have a piece of that somewhere, so they're going to be okay with it. Otherwise, why would they want them to be talking about it all day long? They're talking about it because they don't know if Breaking Point's going to last, right? That's the issue. And if this breaks up, boy, will it be nasty. Boy, will it be nasty. It will be terrible. And the worst part is, I don't know if Krystal has a home someplace, right? Unless she just goes to the Krystal and Kyle show. Kyle has a very loyal audience, right? So maybe she just goes on his show and does that maybe. Maybe she just becomes Kyle and Krystal. Saagar goes off, does something with somebody else. I don't know. Ryan, thank you for the $5. Dems not only dysfunctional, they're openly feuding and attacking each other. I guess is what happens when you have zero ideas. No, when you're desperate. It's desperation. I did tell you last week, if you remember, or it was earlier this week, that there is an attempted coup right now going on against Chuck Schumer. This has been the most effective one in the last, they've been trying probably 5 years, maybe, give or take. 4 years. It's been a while. They've been trying to kind of knock him out some way because he's terrible. This has been the most effective. The mainstream media is against him. I told you, if the mainstream media keeps going against him, he may be finished. And I said 2 weeks. So if by next week, the mainstream media is still attacking him, Pelosi still attacking him, AOC still attacking him, he's finished. That's what I'm telling you. If they're still attacking him, AOC has stopped attacking him so far. We'll see if she does again. Pelosi just got back on his ass again yesterday. She's attacking him also. If it keeps going, 2 weeks is what I'm telling you. If it's still happening not this Friday, by next Friday, if it's still happening next Friday, he is finished. He will somehow be stepping down, somehow be changing. Thank you, Phil. Emily Jasinski. I keep forgetting her names because the problem is, again, she's brilliant. She's very smart. Her personality is not strong, so I always forget. Yes, Emily and Ryan are talking about the other thing, Drop Site. That's the reason why. They know what's up. So yes, in any case, there is a movement against Schumer right now as we speak. So yeah, any case, there we go. Dave goes, Democrats are the boy who cried wolf, and no one listens. Yes, absolutely. Phil says Chris will be suing Saagar for years if it fails. I wish you were wrong, but you're totally right. That's a good call, Phil. Yeah, that's a good call. Yes. Andrea, you will respect my authority, Eric Cartman. True. Yes. John says, what if Krystal and Gavin Newsom show together? The Dems may love that setup. Gavin wouldn't do it. Why would he? Right? Gavin wouldn't do it. She's not strong enough for him. He'd ignore her. Yeah, he wouldn't. He might. Yeah, no, why would he? I don't see any reason to do that. And because she would be a jerk to him, trying to be cool. So yeah. Ryan says, zero ideas or a cause for restoration. Correct. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Paul says, I think Schumer had to cancel his book tour. He did. Schumer canceled his book tour. I'm telling you, the coup was on. Some of you were like, it's AOC taking over. No, AOC shot the first rounds to see if it would work because she is right now doing fine. She could afford to do that. And she tried to see what happened. And so far it's working. Yes, absolutely. Eric says the Democrats don't have to lie about Trump. What he does will be sufficient to fuel election funding. Correct. Eric, thank you. This is my point. I think that disappearing people is terrible. I'm against it. Don't do it. It's nothing but bad. But there are arguments against that. Not, see, it's because Trump's evil. You don't have to exaggerate. You don't have to make stuff up. You don't have to straw man. It's not required at all. And that's where they're losing. That's why they're losing. You're absolutely correct. And yeah, it's just a pain in general for them. Paula says, Dems insult because they think the entire right are either stupid or really rich, really poor, or they don't want to know the Trump voters. Most of the time, Paula, they insult, and she does specifically, because she honestly thinks she's better than them. She can't believe they won. It's like, I can't believe this guy won. I can't believe that happened. I can't believe it. And that's the issue. They're just angry, and they don't have answers. So all of that too. Guys, I'm going to ask you one more time, if you would, please click the button known as like. I appreciate it. Thank you for giving me so much of your time today. I know I was on late tonight. I didn't do a show yesterday, so I did a little extra time today. I will be on tomorrow, I think. I'll be on tomorrow. Here's what I'm going to ask you, if you don't mind. We have been talking about people who are privileged and how they think. Please, if you would, in the comment, give me a statement or a feeling on how you feel about people who are privileged and talk down to others. So who do they talk down to, or what's a job people talk down to, or what's the type of person people talk down to, who are more privileged and think they're cooler than the other. I'd appreciate knowing what you guys think. If you don't mind, that'd be awesome. I will be on tomorrow around 7. I will see you all.